Chapter 58. Dear Guang, your procedure is done. Let's go home together now, okay? Chen Guang was sitting in the detention room anxiously worrying. Wu Tong mischievously poked her head out from the door and said with a smile. She looked like a little girl in love. She hopped in front of Chen Guang and reached out to hold Chen Guang's hand. Chen Guang dodged to the side. Go home together? Don't joke around, okay? I just want to go back to school. Today is the first time I saw you. But I'm sincere to you. I'm willing to give up everything for you, even if it's my life. Wu Tong pounced on him and held Chen Guang's hand from the side. She put her face on his chest. This time, he was suddenly attacked by this woman. His arm was suddenly clamped by her plump breasts. Chen Guang's muscles suddenly stiffened. Admittedly, Chen Guang had always taken advantage of Wenwen's body from time to time in the past few years. But he and Wenwen were so familiar with each other that they couldn't even enter the same toilet. He was already used to the avoidance between the two men and women. But today, he suddenly changed into a beautiful policewoman that he had only known for less than half a day. This feeling was completely different. Wu Tong's plump breasts were more upright than Wenwen's. When these two breasts surrounded Chen Guang's arm from both sides, they were almost completely buried. The amazing elasticity hit him. Chen Guang's whole body was like being electrocuted. He was covered with goosebumps. I'm going to die, I'm going to die. I obviously hate her and want to roar at her. But I look like I'm enjoying it. What's going on? That's right. Even if there was no mirror in front of him, Chen Guang knew that the expression on his face right now was most likely a result of being enchanted. Thinking about it is really shameful. Can I be more resolute? Chen Guang asked himself, and then he found an answer that made him very embarrassed. Speaking from the bottom of his heart, Wu Tong's voluptuous figure was really great. It was like a poppy shell, instantly addictive. Don't be like this. I'm a decent person. In the end, reason won over the little devil in the depths of his heart. Chen Guang used up almost a year's worth of courage to clench his teeth and successfully free his hand from Wu Tong's trap. Then, with a firm and slow force, he slowly pushed her to the side. If things were really that simple, then from now on, this beautiful policewoman named Wu Tong would be dead set on him. With an old bachelor like Chen Guang's willpower that was almost equal to zero, it would be impossible for him to resist such a temptation. Even though he knew that this woman had no true feelings for him and had only fallen for Lu Li's plot, he would still choose to take advantage of her. However, since the person in charge of this matter was Lu Li, Chen Guang always had an inexplicable sense of vigilance in his heart. With that woman's way of doing things, it was impossible for her to be so reliable. There must be a trap waiting for him ahead. Therefore, even though he knew that at this moment, as long as he was slightly tempted, he could just give Wu Tong a look and end his 20 years of that life tonight. Even though this thought in his heart was about to shake the heavens, he still resolutely chose to push Wu Tong away. To put it bluntly, he really didn't dare. He had already experienced this policewoman's fiery temper before. It wasn't easy for him to get away, so he really didn't want to complicate things. Chen Guang thought to himself, how about this, if she's still in this state tomorrow and still comes to find me, I'll just push the boat with the current and eat this big white meat. Today, it's better to go back to school first. On the other side, after Wu Tong pushed Chen Guang away, a tearful expression hung on her face. Chen Guang hurriedly leaned over, put his hands on her shoulders, looked straight into her eyes, and slowly and affectionately said, if you really love me that much, don't make it difficult for me. Your love came too suddenly, too fiercely. I admit that I was caught unprepared. At this time, my heart wants to spend the rest of my life with you, but because of the boundless road ahead, I feel uneasy. I'm still a student, and I don't know what fate awaits the two of us in the future. Maybe it's a white hole, or maybe it's a white tomorrow waiting for us. Please allow me to slowly calm down my boiling heart, let me think about it, and quietly sort out my own thoughts. I can swear to the heavens that I will never disappoint your love, but now, can you let me leave for a while? Chen Guang felt that his stomach was a little uncomfortable and he was about to vomit. He tried to make his expression look very sincere, but his acting skills were in the negatives. Basically, a normal person wouldn't be deceived. Fortunately, the current Wu Tong was not normal. After listening to his words, Wu Tong's pair of beautiful eyes looked at him, with a deep affection that could melt glaciers. She nodded heavily. "Dear light, I'll listen to you, I'll wait for you." "Well, let me leave for a while. A short separation, for the joy of reunion. I'm leaving." Chen Guang opened the door of the detention room and stepped out. Wu Tong followed closely behind him, and she walked step by step like a young wife that had just gotten married. Chen Guang walked faster and faster. He just wanted to leave this terrible place as soon as possible. When the two of them went out, Wang Long, who rushed over from the lounge to see the situation, was suddenly dumbfounded. Just now, Wu Tong suddenly decided to release Chen Guang, which Wang Long learned from the other on-duty colleagues. He thought that this violent policewoman was thoroughly provoked and intended to quietly release him and then beat him up outside. A similar thing had happened once last month. At that time, the guy who molested the girl was beaten until he cried for his parents, and the bandages on his body were still unremoved. After that incident, the steady Wang Long was sent by Bureau Chief Ding to Wu Tong's side, saying that he was to guide the new, but in fact, it was to prevent her from doing similar things again. What was the result? Wang Long rushed over before he even wore his clothes properly. He saw Wu Tong looking at Chen Guang's silhouette with deep emotions in her eyes. That was not all, but Wu Tong seemed to be unable to bear this short separation. There was a saying that the greatest longing in this world was looking at you face to face, but still thinking of you in my heart. For the current Wu Tong, the distance between her and Chen Guang had reached 0.5 meter, as if they were separated by thousands of miles. She fiercely pounced from behind, hugging Chen Guang's back. Don't leave me. I can't leave you for even a second," Wu Tong said with a sobbing tone. How could Chen Guang dare to stay? Even if the touch from his back made him feel so good that he was about to explode, his pace was still as firm as a mountain. With Wu Tong on his back, he moved step by step to the hall, saying, "Don't be like this, your colleagues are watching. You know I'm studying at Gokyo University. You can come to me later." At this moment, not only Wang Long, but also the other 2 police officers on duty in the station were completely dumbfounded. The violent policewoman became a beautiful woman? And the guy was the college student who was just arrested today? Did my eyes deceive me, or did I take the wrong medicine? How could I see such a scene? However, the officers weren't the ones who suffered the greatest shock, but Sun Xiaoxuan, who had just woken up. When he heard Chen Guang's voice, he hurriedly got up from the bench and walked over in a swaying manner. Sun Xiaoxuan, who was standing at the corner of the wall, was stunned when he saw this. Chapter 59. She had imagined the scene of Chen Guang being released many times. She was even worried that Chen Guang would be mistreated in the interrogation room, and at this time, he would be riddled with scars. Therefore, she was determined to stay here and refuse to leave. She was afraid that Chen Guang would be at a disadvantage. But never in her dreams did she expect that when Chen Guang came out, the beautiful policewoman that made her somewhat jealous would be hanging on Chen Guang's body. That's right, this was hanging, the same posture as a monkey climbing a tree. That policewoman seemed to put all her heart on Chen Guang's body. Her eyes simply couldn't see anyone else. She just stared at Chen Guang's ear, like looking at her husband's stone. Sun Xiaoxuan was dumbfounded. Although he also had a deep affection for Chen Guang, he never thought that his charm would be so great. The 2 of them had only met today. What was the meaning of your expression and actions, as if the seas would dry up and the rocks would crumble? At this time, Sun Xiaoxuan was like a child whose favorite toy was snatched away. The anger in his heart was difficult to calm down. All of a sudden, the soreness and powerlessness in his body disappeared. He quickly walked forward and looked at the 2 people, Chen Guang and Wu Tong. At this time, she found that something was wrong. The expression on Chen Guang's face didn't have the slightest bit of enjoyment, nor was he happy. Instead, he had a bitter smile on his face. Seeing Sun Xiaoxuan coming over, Chen Guang gave her a helpless expression and shrugged his shoulders with difficulty. "Police Officer Wu, please let go. My neck is about to be broken by you. I can't breathe." "What? My light? I actually... Don't be like this. If you do this again, I'm really going to fall out with you. Chen Guang quickly righteously stopped her from continuing to say corny lines. There was no one else in the detention room, so he could use the same corny lines to shock this evildoer. But now that they were outside, with Sun Xiaoxuan and another girl in the class in front of him, Chen Guang really couldn't put down his face to act in a Korean drama. All right. Wu Tong finally let go of him reluctantly. Chen Guang took the lead and walked towards the entrance of the branch office. He turned around and scolded Sun Xiaoxuan, "Look at you, you can't even stand straight, and you're still waiting for me here? Do you want to die? Hurry up and follow me back to school." He was a little hesitant. He wanted to help Sun Xiaoxuan out, but he was afraid that the Wu family's gunpowder tong behind him would explode. Only God knew if that woman's jealousy was at the epic or legendary stage. In the end, he didn't dare make a move. "But my sincerity towards you can be witnessed by heaven and earth. Even if I'm not your only woman, I'm willing." Wu Tong actually guessed his thoughts. Chen Guang almost spat out a mouthful of blood. "Can you not say such things in public? Look at my classmates, then look at your colleagues. They are almost paralyzed by you. No matter what. I'm going back to school. Officer Wu, don't follow me. Go about your own business. I already told you not to follow me. If you do this again, I swear I'll never talk to you again." Chen Guang's last heartless words finally stunned Wu Tong. She held onto the door of the branch office and watched Chen Guang and the others leave with tearful eyes. The three of them had just walked about 10 meters away from the branch office when Lu Li's voice suddenly rang in Chen Guang's heart. She sounded very tired. "Little brat, I don't have much time. I forgot to tell you something. The spell I used to change her mind can only last for half an hour." "What? Half an hour? At least 20 minutes have passed. You're only telling me now that it can only last for half an hour. Can't you be a little more reasonable? Can't you think of some other way? Can you not make things so difficult for me?" Chen Guang finally found an opportunity and roared hysterically in his heart. But it was to no avail. Emperor of the Azure was long gone. It was obvious that adding this sentence was already her best effort. But it was to no avail. Emperor of the Azure was long gone. It was obvious that adding this sentence was the best she could do. Chen Guang felt a chill in his heart. He thought to himself, based on Officer Wu's temper, when she returns to normal and recalls what happened between me and her, she will definitely pull out her gun and shoot me full of holes, right? He pinched his fingers and calculated. All right, there's no need to calculate anymore. I'll look at my watch. I only have 5 minutes left. He turned his head and looked at Wu Tong, who was lying on the door and waving at him lovingly. In Chen Guang's eyes, she was like a prehistoric beast that was about to break out of its shell. Chen Guang was completely certain that if he couldn't escape in time, he would die. He would definitely die a horrible death. Sun Xiaoxuan, who was at the side, saw that Chen Guang's expression wasn't right. He asked worriedly, "What's wrong?" Chen Guang glanced at her, then looked at the other girl and asked, "Can you run now? Can you run?" "What's wrong?" Sun Xiaoxuan and the girl were frightened by Chen Guang's pale face. Although Sun Xiaoxuan's best friend didn't know what Chen Guang meant, she nodded and said, "I can run, but Xiaoxuan's steps are still very weak. I'm afraid I can't." Chen Guang carried Sun Xiaoxuan on his back, held her 2 perky buttocks with both hands, and rushed forward. "Gaoya, keep up." Sun Xiaoxuan let out a soft cry, but she quickly stopped talking with a blushing face. She even squinted her eyes happily and leaned her face on Chen Guang's back. Gaoya, Sun Xiaoxuan's best friend, secretly rolled her eyes when she saw this scene. "Xiaoxuan, are you stupid? This man and the policewoman were like that just now. Now that you're being carried by him, and he's suddenly putting on a sweet expression, you should be a little more reserved." While Gaoya was cursing in her heart, Chen Guang had already run at least 10 meters away with Sun Xiaoxuan on his back. She quickly chased after him. "Slow down. Wait for me." She didn't expect Chen Guang to run faster and faster. Not only did he not wait for her, but the distance between them continued to increase. After running for about 200 meters, they finally reached the side of the street. There was an empty taxi in front of them, and Qin Guang quickly stopped it. He first put Sun Xiaoxuan in the back seat, and then planned to get in the car and asked the driver to hurry up. Sun Xiaoxuan still had some conscience and said anxiously, "Qin Guang, wait a minute. Gao Ya is still behind us." Qin Guang had no choice but to go back. He grabbed Gao Ya, who was already panting, and dragged her in the direction of the taxi. "Let's go, let's go." As Gao Ya was being dragged by Qin Guang, she muttered, "What are you doing? Are you crazy? Can't you walk slowly? What's wrong?" Sun Xiaoxuan, who was in the car, also stared at Qin Guang. Qin Guang's behavior was too abnormal. Qin Guang shook his head, pushed Gao Ya to the back seat, and sat in the front passenger seat. "There's no time to explain. Get in the car." But, oh my God. Just then, from the Wenxing branch office about 200 meters away, came a sharp scream. It was Wu Tong. Not only was this domineering policewoman domineering, but her soprano voice was also domineering. Even at a distance of more than 200 meters, her demonic voice still sounded so terrifying. "Oh my God. I'm awake." Qin Guang took out a red note from his pocket and slapped it in front of the taxi driver. Go. Stop hitting the meter, this money is all yours." Chapter 60. The driver looked at Qin Guang suspiciously. After all, the way he ran out of the police station in a panic was a little suspicious. However, Sun Xiaoxuan and Gao Ya, who were sitting in the back seat, dispelled his suspicions. He carefully looked at Qin Guang and started the car. As soon as the taxi left, Wu Tong rushed out with a huge rubber baton in her hand. Her mouth was still roaring. Her face was ferocious, and her hair was disheveled. Her aura was as terrifying as a ferocious tiger, and her hair was standing on end. Unfortunately, Qin Guang and the others had already left in the car, so she couldn't catch up. She stomped her feet and slammed the rubber baton on the railing of the flower terrace. Her eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. However, she wasn't as bad as Qin Guang had feared. At least she didn't take out her gun. Even if she couldn't catch up with anyone, she just used the baton to vent her anger on the public facilities nearby. The reason why she chased after Qin Guang with a pole was purely out of embarrassment, and she didn't really want to beat Qin Guang up. After venting for a while, she gradually calmed down and began to think about this strange thing. Was I bewitched or something? How could I be like that? There's no reason. Wu Tong clearly remembered everything that had happened in the past half an hour. Even now, when she thought back to it, she could still feel the unforgettable feeling of love that could last for eternity. She didn't understand why she fell so deeply in love with that man without any warning before it happened. Suddenly, she fell in love with him. She was possessed, and she lost her soul. What happened in the next half an hour made Wu Tong blush, and her heart beat faster. She was extremely embarrassed. Ever since she was young, she had never fallen in love with a man. How could it be so intense this time? She couldn't even control her thoughts. Fortunately, that brat, Qin Guang, could be considered a gentleman. Otherwise, he had no idea how much of a loss he would have suffered today. If it was a beast without conscience, he would have already been devoured in the detention room. That's fine, but why did I suddenly lose that feeling? It wasn't completely gone. Now that she thought about it, her heart still raced. Could it be that Qin Guang knew hypnosis? That didn't make sense. As an excellent graduate of the police academy, Wu Tong was quite proficient in criminal psychology. Although she didn't know hypnosis, she could be considered half a psychologist. There was no reason for her to be hypnotized so easily. At that time, Qin Guang didn't do anything. Unless he could hypnotize her with his eyes, but that was impossible. Even the best hypnotist in the world couldn't hypnotize a well-trained police officer with his eyes. With infinite suspicion, Wu Tong returned to the police station in embarrassment. Wang Long and the others were hiding in the corner of the hall. When they saw her coming, they quickly turned their heads to the side, but the strange smile on their faces lingered. "Whoever laughs again will come with me to practice kickboxing this weekend." Wu Tong snorted through her nose. Wang Long and the others immediately sat up straight and put on a stern face. What a joke! Wu Tong's reputation as the domineering policewoman of the Wenxing branch was not only because she was beautiful and had a fiery temper. More importantly, it was because she had amazing kickboxing skills as a woman. Even among all the branches in Wujing, she was definitely one of the best. Us bean sprouts, who would be willing to practice kickboxing with her for no reason? They would just be a punching bag. While the Wenxing branch was in a mess because of Wu Tong's matter, Chen Guang's situation was much better. Although Sun Xiaoxuan and Gaoya were suspicious of Chen Guang's unusual behavior, the two girls later heard the policewoman's terrifying scream and saw her chase after Chen Guang with a stick. Chen Guang, that police officer? Sun Xiaoxuan asked in the car. Chen Guang curled his lips helplessly. God knows what's wrong with her. Maybe she's mentally ill. I just felt that something was wrong with her, but she insisted on letting me go. I thought it would be better to come out earlier, so I dragged you guys away, afraid that she would change her mind. Oh. Chen Guang didn't explain in detail, but Sun Xiaoxuan completely believed him. Love could not only blind people, but Gaoya also thought that Sun Xiaoxuan was completely blind. After the three of them got out of the car, Chen Guang planned to send the two girls back to the girls' dorm. At the door of the dorm, Sun Xiaoxuan let Gaoya go upstairs first. She still had something to ask Chen Guang. Gaoya rolled her eyes, silently cursing Sun Xiaoxuan for valuing a girl over a friend, but she still went up first. The effect of the knockout powder had almost worn off. Sun Xiaoxuan had just slept, so she was much more energetic now. You know about Panzhong's injury, right? It's pretty serious. Sun Xiaoxuan was like a young wife who had done something wrong. As she spoke, she nervously rubbed her hands. Chen Guang, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have trusted him. If I hadn't gone to that meal, he wouldn't have had the chance, and you wouldn't have. I'm the one who dragged you down. Chen Guang shook his head. That's not necessarily true. I've always known that Pan Jiang isn't a good person. Even if you didn't go this time and avoided it, what about next time? You can avoid it once, but you can't avoid it forever. He'll reveal his true colors sooner or later. I think it's better this way. The sooner you expose him, the less likely you'll be to fall for it again. What if you fall for it again when I'm not at school? That'll be terrible. Besides, you don't have to apologize. We're classmates and friends. When a friend is in trouble, it's only right for me to help. By the way, how did Officer Wu decide on the punishment? She didn't want to let you go before. Sun Xiaoxuan asked again. She couldn't feel at ease if she didn't figure it out. It's not a big deal. I'll probably just have to pay 1,000 yuan fine and pay for Panzhong's medical fees. Even then, it's probably just around 10,000 yuan. Chen Guang tried his best to look indifferent, but he was actually quite pained. He hadn't even warmed up the 50,000 yuan he earned from saving Jin Shiriyue and Jiang Yage a few days ago, and now it was all gone. Of course, the most annoying thing was that he just remembered that he had left the police station so quickly that he didn't have time to pay the fine. Who knew if Wu Tong, that terrifying policewoman, would use this as an excuse to cause trouble for him? Although he didn't have to worry about being detained, after all, his own people had already come out. The punishment decision couldn't be easily changed, and he would be arrested again. He just didn't know how he should face the explosive policewoman. Should he continue acting in his crappy Korean drama, or should he beg her to let him go? He really couldn't face her face. It didn't matter how beautiful she was. That woman was definitely a white-bone demon in her previous life. 10,000 yuan. Sun Xiaoxuan, who was on the other side, was shocked by the amount, but he immediately said, I'll find a way to get it. I'll call my dad later. You don't have to. You didn't hit him, so why would I ask you to pay? I hit him, so I'll pay for it myself. What's the point of asking for your money? Chen Guang immediately refused. But aren't you short of money? Sun Xiaoxuan still insisted. It's not a matter of money, but a matter of principle as a man. A man must be responsible. Don't say anything, I'll pay for it myself. Okay, you go up, I'm going back to my dorm to rest. Chen Guang said and was about to leave. Sun Xiaoxuan had no choice but to stop insisting. Suddenly he saw the cup in Chen Guang's hand and said, Wait a minute, I'm a little thirsty, can I have a sip of water from your cup? Take it. Chen Guang didn't think too much, and directly handed the cup to Sun Xiaoshuan. This is the cup he drinks from. If I drink from this cup and he drinks from me, is it considered an indirect kiss? God knows that Sun Xiaoshuan was actually thinking about this at this time. After drinking the water, she clearly saw the decorative painting on the cup with the light from the street outside the girl's dorm. Her face suddenly turned red, and she stuffed the cup into Chen Guang's arms. She said that she would see him tomorrow, and then went upstairs. What's wrong with her? Chen Guang felt a little strange. Is there something wrong with the cup? He also looked at the decorative painting on the cup and then, puff. Lu Li, female pervert. You're deliberately tricking me. Aren't you a flying goddess in a long skirt? Why did you suddenly turn into a big-breasted girl in a bikini? How do you expect me to go out and greet people with this cup? What a scam. In order to control that pretty police officer's mind, I used too much of my divine power, and I can't maintain the lustrous feather dress anymore. I can't let you see it naked, and I'm already risking my life to maintain this bit of fabric. Don't worry about these details, okay? Do you think I want to do this? The colored glazed Shenhuang, the Shenhuang who appeared and disappeared mysteriously, actually appeared again. Why did I say again? Didn't she sound like she was about to collapse from exhaustion just now? Was this guy faking it? Chapter 61. Then you have to think of another reliable way. Why do you have to make her fall in love with me? Can't there be a second choice? Chen Guang expressed his disdain for Emperor of the Azure's irresponsible behavior. Liu Li sneered, well, what do you know, little brat? Now that my divine power is greatly damaged, if I want to help you escape from prison, I really have no other way but this method. Since you can make her love me so much, can't you just control her thoughts a little and make her let me go? Liu Li spat again. What do you know? I'm just trying to help you get rid of your worries. Do you know that the most difficult thing to understand and figure out in the world is the human heart? Now that my divine power is weak, if I want to get you out, I can't directly blow up this place, so I have to find a reasonable reason for you, so I can only make a move on that beautiful policewoman's mind. But you don't have to make her fall in love with me, do you? Not at all. There are two best ways to control a mortal's mind. One is thought control, which is roughly what you expect, which is equivalent to hypnosis in your world. The second is this emperor's unique method, emotional control. This method saves time and effort. As long as you make her fall in love with you, she will naturally be willing to do something that is beneficial to you under the permission of her own principles. How could Liu Li bear Chen Guang's questioning of her? There was no other way. She had to maintain the majesty of the emperor in front of him. Sigh, my savior is so weak, but his temper is so stubborn. I have to explain clearly to him, otherwise this guy will cause trouble sooner or later. What you said is very high-end. But I think the first plan's thought control is also pretty good. Pretty good? Let me put it this way. If I had only used mind control, she would have let you go without even knowing it. And then? When she wakes up, her colleagues will tell her what she did just now, but she will find that she has no memory of it, and she will make the decision to let you go purely without knowing it. What do you think will happen next? Probably she'll rush over and grab me back and try to figure out what I did to her? That's right. I can only say that there will be endless troubles in the future. Aren't you afraid of troubles in the future the most? However, I used the second method to control her emotions. I didn't need a clear direction. I just needed to make her fall deeply in love with you. Then she would let you go. Moreover, she would remember every detail of the entire process and clearly know what she was thinking at that time. Although she didn't understand why she would suddenly fall in love with a stranger like you, she could deeply remember the feeling of being in love without any regard for her own safety. Love? No reason, no excuse. I really have to go. The next time I come out, it will be the time for you to accept the test. Be mentally prepared. Young man, let's work hard together and create a better tomorrow. After saying this, Emperor of the Azure really stopped moving. Wait a minute. Tell me when you're coming out next time. Otherwise, how do you expect me to prepare? There was no sound. She had indeed disappeared. Chen Guang wanted to smash the cup in his hand. Why were other people's portable grandpas so cool? Other people's artifacts could level up 2 times a day, dominate the world in 3 days, but when it came to his turn, not only was there no hope of leveling up, it was actually regressing. The world in the cup was getting smaller and smaller, and it was getting worse and worse. King leveled up in the opposite direction. Then, what's the next step for the nutrition cabin? A coffin that can only hold half a body? Or maybe an urn? He finally understood, no matter how powerful and effective the second plan was to change feelings, he could not let Emperor of the Azure use it easily in the future. The loss was too great, it was too heavy. Moreover, her method still had a time limit, to overdraft her divine power for a short period of pleasure, making the world in the cup worse and worse. He would rather die than accept such a deceptive setting. Picking up the cup, looking at the bikini portrait on it, Chen Guang used his finger to poke the chest of the portrait. I'm so angry, I'll poke you until you explode. Chapter 62. In the end, he still couldn't break it. After all, the portrait on the cup was embedded in the glass. Even if he used a knife, he wouldn't be able to cut it. As he went upstairs, Chen Guang thought to himself, because of my matter today, Lin Jingwei and the others have been busy the whole day. I haven't gone back yet. They must still be worried about me, right? When he walked to the door of the dormitory, there was a huge argument going on inside. Chen Guang was touched. What a group of good brothers. They must be discussing how to break into the prison to save me, right? He pushed the door open. Bai Nyangzi, you scammer. I told you that the current blue cat is weak. I told you not to choose, but you insisted. It's been almost 30 minutes, and you, a mid-blue cat, haven't even spawned a single purple grudge. What are we going to use to fight the other side? Xiong yelled at the top of his lungs. You still have the face to say that? You play support without buying chicken. The other side's bounty comes to attack me once every minute, and you don't even give me a true sight. The other side's bad support teams up to farm me every day, and not a single TP comes to save me. You still have the face to scold me? Bai Nyangzi didn't want to be outdone. Little Lin said quietly, you guys hold on for another 20 minutes, and I'll come out of the mountain. Come out of the mountain, my ass. The base is going to explode. Hurry up and come back. We're going to be tortured. He was touched for nothing. This group of animals. Pushing open the door, Chen Guang went straight to his desk. That scammer Azure still didn't have a specific time to appear, but she had used up a lot of energy today. At the very least, she definitely wouldn't appear for the test in the cup today. Chen Guang could finally catch his breath. The long-awaited sound of the computer booting up almost moved him to tears. Yo, Brother Guang, you're back? Lin Jingwei finally saw Chen Guang when he was drinking water. The other two didn't even raise their heads. Bai Fan said, it's good that you're back. Hurry up and turn it on. Tomorrow is the sports meet. If the power doesn't go out tonight, we can still do 3 more rounds. Chen Guang was furious. You 3 heartless beasts. Who the hell wants to fight with you? That's right, his hands were also itching. He hadn't dared to relax for even a second for many years. His heart was tired, and he wanted to play a game to relax. However, he was unsure of his current state in Dota 2. He did not know to what extent the aftereffects of being forced to become the best player in history had been alleviated. If he were to play together with these 3 grandsons, 1 round would definitely not be enough. Bai Nyangzi would ask for 3 rounds the moment he opened his mouth. He had a phobia of Dota 2, but he didn't have any other games that he liked. He could only think of a way to adapt to it bit by bit. He opened the app and logged into his account. A party invitation immediately popped up. It was from Wenwen. Chen Guang accepted the invitation. You're about to take the CET4 exam. Why aren't you studying? Wenwen asked him in the party channel. With a chuckle, Chen Guang replied, don't worry about it. I guarantee that I'll complete the mission. I'll only play 1 round. That's fine. We agreed to only play 1 round. If you dare to start a second round, I'll chop you to death. Wen was a little distrustful of Qin Guang. Just 1 round. I said 1 round and I'll do it. By the way, why didn't you play by yourself? I only went online for less than 5 seconds before you added me. Don't tell me it's such a coincidence that you just finished a round? Qin Guang asked as the two of them started to queue. I was just watching a drama. I put my account here to spy on you. Sure enough, I caught you red-handed. On the other side of the computer, Wen had a proud look on her face. She didn't know why, but as long as she was chatting with Qin Guang, she would become very relaxed. After waiting for about 2 to 3 minutes, the two of them finally started playing. On the other side, Bai Fan and the other 2 animals finally finished their round. Without any suspense, the 3 of them were beaten up by their opponents in a fancy manner. They gave their opponents a good show of respect and love. With their broken and wounded hearts, the 3 of them gathered behind Qin Guang. This guy teamed up with the beautiful Wen again. He's a shameless bootlicker. Lin Jingwei clenched his teeth. 5,000 points in a team. His actual combat power is 3,000 points. Brother Guang, you're really the glory of the bootlicker world. You must have a unique bootlicker technique. Bai Fan was jealous and envious. Wen is really my goddess. She's beautiful, plays games well, and has an even better temper. If it were me, I'd definitely be pissed to death when I bring Brother Guang to a 5,000-point game every day. Sigh, it's just that Goddess Wenwen's eyesight isn't that good. How did she fall for Brother Guang? Xiong Jinka, this idiot, actually learned to complain. Qin Guang slammed the table. You 3 snobbish huskies. Shut up. Old man, I'll let you know what it means to be treated differently after 3 days apart. Brother Guang, don't mess around. Do you think we don't know you? You can drag us down even when teaming up with the 3 of us who have 4,000 points. Goddess Wenwen said that playing games with you is called weight-bearing training. We understand you. Don't force yourself. It's not shameful to play badly. We're even envious of you for being so lousy. Otherwise, we'd have the chance to give Wenwen goddess weight-bearing training. Bai Nyangzi had a lot of theories when it came to attacking people. He said he was scolding people, but he was really envious of them. A person needs a face, and a tree needs a bark. Although Qin Guang was thick-skinned, if he didn't prove something, he would be letting down the 3 months of hellish training in the world in the cup. Putting on his headphones, Qin Guang cut off the buzzing of the 3 flies. He focused all his attention on the game. Sigh, as a winner in life with a godly weapon, sometimes it's really lonely. Not only did he have to slap the faces of ugly villains like Pan Jiang, Dong Tao, or Zheng He, but now he couldn't even let his roommates go. A general's success is built on thousands of bones. My back is destined to be littered with corpses. Brothers, don't worry. After I slap your faces to death, I'll arrange your corpses beautifully. As usual, the mid lane would always belong to Wenwen, and Qin Guang was the ironclad support. In the past, he would try his best to choose a support with a higher tolerance for mistakes. For example, the Tide Hunter, which was hard to leave empty, or the Silencer, which had a full screen of skills. But this time, he chose to use the extremely difficult Brother Mongrel, which was known in the Jianghu as one move to conquer the world. I used to tease you guys because I was afraid that you'd feel inferior. Today, I'll show you what it means to be a one-trick pony. His actions caused the 3 bastards behind him to mock him mercilessly. In a game like Dota 2, there were at most 20 to 30 people out of 100 who could use pony. There were no more than 5 who could play it proficiently. Those who dared to call themselves pony were 1 in a million. Bai Nyangzi and the others didn't think that Qin Guang could control this extremely difficult hero. But seeing Qin Guang's confident expression, they stopped playing and sat behind Qin Guang, waiting to watch a good show. Game start. Wenwen's mid laner had always been steady and fierce. Although she played a Shadow Fiend with an off-the-charts taunt, when she reached level 3, she used triple destruction to send the opposing mid laner, Windrunner, back to the spring. As for Qin Guang's pony, it was still in the forest stocking up for Wenwen. The 3 animals had already started to ridicule him. I understand now. Your specialty is stocking up for mid-lane heroes, right? Strictly speaking, you're a very competent support. Lin Jingwei mocked mercilessly. Chen Guang didn't say a word and quietly moved closer to the middle lane. You're sharing your experience with me. Chen Guang, you bastard. Wenwen yelled angrily. Chen Guang, you bastard? Bai Nyangzi pinched his nose and mimicked Wenwen's sweet emphasis. He couldn't stop laughing. At this moment, two people rushed out from the shadows in the middle lane. The opponents opened up the fog to catch Wenwen. When they broke through the fog, both sides were already within range of their skills. Wenwen was dead meat. At this moment, Chen Guang's skill had already flown over. The two opponents who just broke through the fog were locked in place. It was as if he already knew that the opponents would appear from this position at this time, because his flying skill required time. In fact, he had already kicked the green feces before the opponents broke through the fog and revealed themselves. Wenwen turned around and fired 2 shots. Just now, when he leached off Wenwen's experience, he was actually trying to get his second skill after leveling up to level 2. Chen Guang had just leveled up to level 2, but he had already activated his skill. He flew over and transformed into a boulder, crashing into the opponent's heroes. With the speed reduction effect, the two opponents' movements paused. Immediately after, Wenwen adjusted her position and fired the third shot. Big pork, double kill. How the hell did you do it? Big question marks came from both inside and outside the earpiece. 15 seconds ago, the support in their advantageous lane disappeared. I knew they were coming. Their hero's initial movement speed is 305. I didn't buy any shoes. Our Shadow Fiend is about to level up to level 5. They're definitely going to make a move, so I prepared in advance. Chen Guang's tone was so calm that it could even be seen from water. However, his tone was filled with a strong sense of pretentiousness. The sound of people gasping could be heard. Be it Wenwen or Bai Nyangzi, the three animals, they were all shocked. Chen Guang smiled indifferently. Don't worry, the show has just begun. Well, in fact, he was already laughing in his heart. Don't worry, it'll be fine. You did have a momentary epiphany at that time, and then you improved too much in a short period of time. Your brain and body couldn't adapt, and that's why you felt nauseous and nauseous. Your condition should be much better today, right? Wenwen actually believed it just like that. She even turned around and comforted Chen Guang, as if she was used to epiphanies and had a lot of experience. Chen Guang was stunned. Why didn't I know that you were such an innocent, cute, pure, and adorable girl in the past? An epiphany that only appeared in wuxia novels, and she actually believed it so easily. Where's your scientific spirit? Did all those years of reading books go to waste? Aren't you ashamed of your identity as a new era university student? Alright, no matter what, Wenwen was easily fooled. After she chatted for a while, Chen Guang logged out of the game. The other three also heard most of the conversation between him and Wenwen. Chen Guang then told them about how he and Wenwen made a comeback in the internet cafe. On the other side, Bai Nyangzi had already opened the highlights of that match. After comparing the two, everyone was finally convinced that it was indeed Chen Guang. *CK, you're really something. Lin Jingwei patted Chen Guang's shoulder heavily and made a gesture of worship. Brother, are you still accepting disciples? Bai Nyangzi had already shamelessly approached Chen Guang to be his disciple. He completely forgot that just 20 minutes ago, he had used rather vicious words to mock Chen Guang. No wonder Goddess Wenwen favors you so much. She must have seen your potential, Brother Guang. Goddess, you're indeed a goddess. Xiong Jinke was such a simple-minded idiot. He always associated all good things with Wenwen. Even now that Chen Guang had become awesome, it was actually because of Wenwen's sharp eyes. In short, when you guys talk about games in front of me in the future, you'd better behave yourself. The old man is a genius that only appears once in 10,000 years. When he slaps someone's face, he doesn't even care about his own people. He even slaps his own people. Chen Guang laughed heartily. Looking at the little rascal's admiring and ashamed gazes, he felt a sour feeling in his heart. Brother Guang, let's play another round? Let us learn from you? Lin Jingwei and the others didn't want to play anymore, so they asked eagerly. Chen Guang chuckled. Forget it. Just now, Wenwen said that if I dare to play a second round, she'll kill me. I haven't lived long enough. Let's go, let's go. I need to go to the toilet. Pushing aside the few frogs at the bottom of the well who had never seen the world, Chen Guang got up and went straight to the toilet. As expected, he retched for a long time, making his stomach cramp. Leaning against the wall, Chen Guang walked out with a helpless expression. The aftereffects lasted longer than he had imagined. He heard that the prize money for this year's International Invitational Tournament was more than $1 million. If he could win it, his family's debt would be resolved. Sigh, the old man had the heart and the strength to kill the thief, but his physical condition didn't allow it. Of course, winning the championship wasn't something that could be achieved by one's own strength alone. After all, this was a team game. To stand at the top of the world, 5 teammates had to work together. Everyone had to be in their best condition and be at their strongest in order to stand out in the International Invitational Tournament where all the heroes gathered. Apart from that, the greatest charm of Dota 2 was that until the last moment, you would never know who would win and who would lose. Even if you had an absolute advantage in strength, you might not be able to win the game. Chen Guang didn't have the courage and guts to become a professional player under the intense aftereffects of the special hellish training. When he thought about money, he couldn't help but feel troubled again. He didn't plan on reneging on the 1 in a million that he had to give to Wu Tong. With that domineering policewoman's temperament, he didn't have the courage to renege on a debt. Who knew if the next time she came looking for him, she would be a crazy tiger or a venomous snake? Poor me, I just got $50,000. I gave $40,000 to my dad first, and I still have $10,000 left in my pocket. I thought that I didn't have to worry about anything and could live a comfortable life for a while, so I started to slack off these 2 days and didn't go to the sports car. In the end, before I could even warm up, I had to hand it over again. Even the $1,000 or so in the same card that was struggling at death's door could only be left with a fraction. Why was my life so bitter? Wouldn't I have to go to the sports car again? Chapter 64. Chen Guang was very unhappy the whole night. Although he had been slacking off a lot these days and had a lot of sports cars, the most important thing in life was to be happy. In life, the most important thing was to be in a good mood. Originally, sports cars had become something that could lighten one's mood, but now he had to do it for the sake of money. It was the same thing but in a different mood. That made him feel uncomfortable. Standing at the side of the stadium, Chen Guang felt bitter in his heart. He really couldn't be happy at all. He picked up the cup and drank some water. There was a tea leaf in his mouth, but he didn't spit it out immediately. Instead, he carefully took a few sips. When he left the dormitory this morning, Chen Guang very cleverly went to the grocery store to buy a cup cover and put the heavenly holy grail in it to prevent Lioli's bikini portrait from being exposed. It could be considered as saving his own face and protecting Lioli's body at the same time. It was really killing 2 birds with 1 stone. However, there was a small problem. Cup covers weren't commonly seen, and usually, not many guys would buy them. There weren't many in the grocery store, and even if there were, most of them were for girls. When Chen Guang went there were only 3 cup covers, and they were all in the same format, pink Hello Kitty. God gave Chen Guang 3 choices, but all 3 were B's. Since it was his own decision, he had to accept it even with tears in his eyes. Thus, Chen Guang used the Hello Kitty cup cover without hesitation. What kind of experience would it be like for a pure man to hold a pink Hello Kitty cup cover and stand in the stadium and drink water? One could simply try to figure it out with the eyes of others. Everyone looked askance at him. This was going to blind people's dog eyes. Chen Guang's face was calm. This brother's might and handsomeness couldn't be hidden. Since that was the case, he might as well face life with a smile. A true warrior often had to live under the strange gazes of others. Don't be infatuated with this brother. This brother doesn't walk the ordinary path. A track and field competition was going on in the stadium. The reason Chen Guang came here was simple. Sun Xiaoxuan and Wenwen would both participate in the women's 100-meter sprint. Chen Guang's swimming competition was in the afternoon, so he came here to see what was going on. Beside him was Bai Nyangzi, while Lin Jingwei and Xiong Jinke had gone to participate in their respective competitions. On the way, Bai Nyangzi had complained about Qin Guang's pink mug cover at least 50 times, so his mouth was now taped up. Woo woo, woo woo woo. White Snake was really a guy with tenacious willpower. Even if his mouth was stained, he could still express his thoughts through his whimpers. As he whimpered, he pointed at Qin Guang's cup with a weird smile. He understood the principle of if you don't court death, you won't get. Brother Guang, your condoms are so cute. Chen Guang rolled his eyes. Get lost. I'll stuff your nose too if you keep talking nonsense. *CK. Even his nose is blocked. Are you even human? Bai Nyangzi finally stopped. On the other side, the women's 100-meter sprint had entered the preparation stage. Sun Xiaoxuan and Wenwen were doing their own warm-ups in different areas. Sun Xiaoxuan actually knew Wenwen. After all, the campus belle of Wen University was quite famous. She had also waited for Qin Guang outside the classroom several times. For today's sprint competition, Wen University's campus belle wore a skin-tight sports singlet and a pair of elastic shorts that covered her knees. Although this way of dressing prevented all the possibility of being exposed, it also showed off her slender and beautiful figure. Even though she had deliberately kept a low profile, she still became the focus of the scene. As for Sun Xiaoxuan, the sprinting equipment she had chosen was relatively loose, so her figure was not obvious. Moreover, she was a little short, so she was drowned in the crowd. Only a few sharp-eyed people saw her and exclaimed, "Look at that girl. She looks so pure." Chen Guang was well aware of Wenwen's ability. He was 100% sure that as long as she wanted to win the championship, no one would be her match. Therefore, Chen Guang was not worried about the campus belle at all. Instead, he was more concerned about Sun Xiaoxuan's condition. She had been drugged last night, so he did not know how she was recovering today. She would not faint halfway through the race, right? Sun Xiaoxuan's movements seemed a little stiff when she did her warm-up, so he could not help but worry about her. On the other side, the teacher responsible for arranging the groups for the preliminaries had already started calling people with the name list. Chen Guang began to put his hands together and pray. Bai Nyangzi, who was next to him, finally pulled off the tape on his face. Brother Guang, you must be praying that the class rep and the campus belle won't be in the same group, right? Do you have the ability to read minds? Bai Nyangzi had hit the nail on the head on Qin Guang's head, but how could he admit it? Stop it. What does it matter if they're in the same group? I don't have anything to do with the two of them. I might be charming, but you can't possibly think that the two of them like me, right? Chen Guang spoke calmly, but his trembling hands revealed the uneasiness in his heart. The class rep most likely won't be able to escape, but the campus belle probably doesn't like you. You two are basically bros. Although I haven't spoken to the campus belle many times, I can tell that we're the same type of person. Bai Nyangzi vowed solemnly. What do you mean we're the same type of person? You're a sissy, and Wenwen is a tomboy. Okay, in a broad sense, the two of them are really different. They're the same type. Tomboys definitely can't like men. Something's wrong. Damn it. It seems like Bai Nyangzi is publicly admitting that his sexual orientation is incorrect. Is he hinting that he doesn't like women, but men? Why is he hinting at me? Does he have feelings for me? Chen Guang's phone rang, and Bai Nyangzi's bitter voice came through. I say, Brother Guang, how can you quietly move 50 meters away while thinking about things in your heart? I think you're only the size of a sesame seed. It's okay, I can see better from here. It's cool and clear. Chen Guang stood at the entrance of the stadium and waved at Bai Nyangzi from afar. Are you suspecting that I like men? I'm going to strangle you. Bai Nyangzi finally realized that something was wrong. No, nothing of the sort. Chen Guang had already run to the other side of the stadium, facing Bai Nyangzi from afar. We're all brothers, so don't get too excited. We'll each take one side, and we'll surround all the beauties in the stadium. We'll catch them all in one go. *CKU. Chen Guang joked with Bai Nyangzi while paying attention to the groups below. What he was afraid of had really happened. Wen and Sun Xiaoxuan were actually in the same group. He didn't know when the two of them had actually gathered together, and they were talking and laughing with each other. He didn't know what they were talking about. For a moment, Chen Guang's heart was itching, but he didn't have clairaudience. The stadium was noisy, and he had to shout to speak from a distance of 2 meters, so how could he hear them clearly? He didn't know why, but looking at the sweet smile on their faces, Chen Guang was a little flustered. Chapter 65. No one knew what Wen and Sun Xiaoxuan talked about. They didn't talk for long, and the sprint began soon. Sun Xiaoxuan seemed to be a bit angry. She was obviously not in a good state. After all, she had just drugged her last night. But she still stood in front of the starting point with a firm face, gritting her teeth, and a firm look in her eyes. It was really strange to see such an expression on the face of a girl from Jiangnan, who was supposed to be as calm as water. On the other side, Wen, who was 3 tracks away from Sun Xiaoxuan, looked calm. She just stretched her body from time to time, revealing the explosive power hidden in her beautiful body. No matter how you looked at it, the champion of Wen and Sun Xiaoxuan's group would definitely be Wen. The others couldn't be considered a threat at all. Chen Guang, who was hiding in the crowd, shrunk his neck. He didn't know why, but he felt that Wen and Sun Xiaoxuan, who were 3 tracks away, were full of murderous intent and turbulent undercurrents. With the sound of the starting gun, everyone started running at full speed. Without any suspense, Wen had the absolute advantage from the beginning and took the lead. To everyone's surprise, Sun Xiaoxuan was not far behind Wen, firmly occupying the 2nd place. Her gymnastics training wasn't for nothing. But for some reason, Chen Guang felt that something was amiss about this matter. Wen ran with ease, but Sun Xiaoxuan risked his life to catch her. Finally, Wen and Sun Xiaoxuan crossed the finish line one after another. Wen slowed down slowly, but Sun Xiaoxuan fell to the ground in an ugly posture. He rolled around for a while before he managed to stabilize his body. Chen Guang was worried and wanted to rush over to help, but Wen had already helped Sun Xiaoxuan up. Sun Xiaoxuan's footsteps looked very weak, and she almost couldn't stand steadily. She had indeed used all her strength to run like this under the aftereffects of the drug. But even so, she still pushed away Wen's hand and moved to the side to hold the fence, gasping for breath. Then, she turned her head to look at Wen and said something. Chen Guang was too far away, and he didn't know how to read lips, so he could only watch anxiously. When Wen heard this, a meaningful smile blossomed on her face. No one knew what she said to Sun Xiaoxuan, but she immediately turned around and left. Chen Guang was going to help Sun Xiaoxuan, but Gaoya was already there. She supported Sun Xiaoxuan and waved her fist at the back of Wen, who was leaving without looking back, as if to demonstrate her power. Thus, Chen Guang wisely decided to flee. Although he didn't do anything wrong and didn't do anything, the intense smell of gunpowder definitely had something to do with him, no matter how he looked at it. If the old man wasn't being narcissistic, there wouldn't be any suspense at all. Otherwise, why would Sun Xiaoxuan and Wen, 2 people who had nothing to do with each other, get into a conflict like this? That's right. They must be fighting over him. The old man had this kind of charm. But what did they talk about just now? Chen Guang really wanted to know. But subconsciously, he told himself that he couldn't ask. If he didn't ask, everything would remain the same. But there were some things and some words that he couldn't say out loud. Forget it, I'll pretend I didn't see anything. Quietly hiding in the crowd, Chen Guang slipped out of the stadium. On the other side, Bai Nyangzi called. He was howling over the phone, "Hey! Brother Guang! Where did you go? The class leader is about to collapse. Come and help." Chen Guang chuckled, "Aren't you and Gaoya here? I have something urgent to attend to, so I have to go." How would I dare to help my sister-in-law? If this happened in ancient times, I'd be drowned in a pig cage. Bai Nyangzi really wanted to see the world in chaos. Chen Guang spat, F***. Who asked you to help her? Gaoya will be fine, right? You just have to watch from the side and call me if there's an emergency. Oh yeah, if there's a chance, help me ask what Sun Xiaoxuan and Wen said just now. Why do my words sound wrong? Shouldn't I refute what his sister-in-law said first? On the other end of the line, Bai Nyangzi looked like he understood. I get it. She's the campus belle of Wen University, after all. What do you know? Chen Guang cursed inwardly. Bai Nyangzi chuckled. Brother Guang, you don't have to say any more. I understand men's thoughts. Don't worry, I won't let you down. Don't worry. Why should I worry? What's your mission? Chen Guang quickly asked. On the other end, Bai Nyangzi had already hung up. Chen Guang suddenly felt that it was a complete mistake to let Bai Nyangzi be a spy. Forget it. Since things have come to this, I don't care anymore. I don't have the time to play any tricks to please both sides, especially when one of them is a real brother, Wen. I don't have such a heavy taste, but she's a tomboy. The old man had no desires. Just imagining himself dating Wen and seeing her act like a couple, he had goosebumps all over his body. What the old man was most worried about now was money. Chen Guang squeezed the bank card in his wallet bitterly. His heart ached when he thought about how he was about to have a slimming operation. Just then his cell phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was an unknown number. A man's sixth sense came into play. Without a doubt, it must be Wu Tong. He had registered her number yesterday. Now that she was calling, it was most likely to be a debt collector. As expected, he picked up the call. Hello, Chen Guang, are you in school now? I'm Wu Tong. I'm looking for you in school. Sorry, the number you have dialed is unavailable. Please try again later. Can you not be childish? Can't you at least act a little more realistic? Your phone's operator is unavailable. Are you trying to call me later? Wu Tong expressed her disdain to him. Chen Guang pinched his thigh. Tell me, why are you looking for me? I just went to Xianxia with my tutor for a scientific investigation. You know Xianxia, right? It's the place where savages roar through the mountains and plains. You can even see tigers from time to time. I'm very busy. If there's anything, can you wait until I come back? What's the matter? Have you forgotten that you still haven't paid the 10,000 yuan fine? Yesterday, when I helped you with the procedures, I used my own money to pay for it. You have to pay me back, right? You can't possibly renege on the police's money, right? That's right. Wu Tong, who had fallen in love yesterday, did not take this matter seriously. She simply used her own money to pay for it. Today, she really wanted to look for Chen Guang. She could use this matter as an excuse. Actually, she wasn't bothered about the money, but she wanted to use this as an excuse to meet with Chen Guang again. Last night's incident was too bizarre, and she couldn't understand it. So she wouldn't feel uneasy if she didn't confirm the situation. She could not face herself like that. Chen Guang was amused. If that was the case, then don't blame the old man for being ruthless. When the old man became shameless, even he was afraid. Chapter 66. There's actually such a good thing? The money should be paid by him. No matter how unwilling Chen Guang was, he wouldn't renege on his debt. But since you've already paid for me and I didn't write you an IOU, and you're such a hateful person, how can I return the money to you so easily? Even if I drag it out for 10 days to half a month to disgust you, I'll still save the money in some bank and earn a few dozen yuan in interest. It's decided then. Wu Tong really overestimated Chen Guang. She didn't care about money, but Chen Guang cared about money. Okay, Officer Wu, I'll definitely return the money later. But I really can't come back these 2 days. There's a cave in front. My tutor went in first, I can't talk to you now, I have to follow and see the situation. Don't worry, how could I renege on my debt? I wouldn't dare even if I had 10,000 guts. When I come back, I promise I'll return the money to you. Okay, I'm afraid it's not safe for the tutor to be alone in the cave. I'll hang up first, I'll call you later. Clatter. After saying that, Chen Guang really hung up. What you want is pure love. What I want is only interest. As the saying goes, summer insects cannot talk about ice. This is the logic. Chen Guang whistled happily, ran to the cafeteria alone, and rubbed himself a fat meal. Then he took his swimming suit and hid in a corner of the school, quietly waiting for the afternoon competition. There was still a follow-up competition in the afternoon, so Sun Xiaoxuan definitely wouldn't be able to come and see him. Chen Guang felt that this was also a good thing. He could quietly swim through this round before running to his car. He was lacking money. In the middle, Sun Xiaoxuan gave him a call. "Hey, class monitor, I watched your race in the gym today, you ran well. But then I was in a hurry, so I left early, so I didn't come over to say hello. By the way, your body hasn't recovered yet, don't work so hard in the afternoon, okay? The most important thing is to participate. It wouldn't be good if you accidentally hurt yourself." As soon as the phone was connected, Chen Guang said in one breath. He didn't ask what Wenwen said to her. He was deliberately avoiding it. On the other side of the phone, Sun Xiaoxuan also grunted. "Bai Fan told me everything. Don't worry, I'm just a little unconvinced this morning. I don't want to admit defeat." On the other end of the phone, Chen Guang raised his eyebrows. From the girl's words, he heard something different. It seemed that Sun Xiaoxuan had changed. In the past, she was always so gentle and quiet, a standard Jiangnan girl. Even if Pan Jiang tried to drug her, when she mentioned Pan Jiang again, she would not show that kind of hatred. She would only treat Pan Jiang as a stranger. But today, such a simple sentence conveyed a strong message to Chen Guang. She was still the same person, but she had found a goal that could change her personality. In order to achieve this goal, she didn't hesitate to change herself from an introverted and reserved girl to a strong and unyielding woman. "What did Wenwen say to you?" In the end, Chen Guang didn't dare to ask directly, although that's true, but, "I know what you mean. Don't worry, I get it. Sprinting is not my strength, so why should I fight in a field where someone is better than me? It's not wise to attack the opponent's strong point with my weak point. Besides, I lost in the end. But I didn't think I had to win, I just didn't want her to look down on me." Sun Xiaoxuan said a few more words, then said, "You have to do your best in the swimming competition in the afternoon. I can't come, but you still have to win." Then she hung up the phone. Chen Guang couldn't take it anymore, so he quickly called Wenwen. "I say, Miss Wen, what did you say to Sun Xiaoxuan today? There's nothing between me and her, all right?" Chen Guang said ferociously as he continued, "Don't try anything weird with me. What do you mean by two girls fighting for a husband? That doesn't fit the old man's style." Pfft. Wenwen, who was on the other end of the phone, couldn't help but laugh. "I didn't say anything to her. I just said that Chen Guang often mentioned you to me, saying that you helped him a lot in class. That's all." "What the F***CK? What do you mean I often mentioned her to you? That's a groundless thing, okay?" Chen Guang vomited blood. Wenwen laughed. "What else could I say? I'm your bro, and she's your class monitor. We're at least acquaintances, so you can't just say hello when you see her, right? Isn't that too distant? But she's acting so weird now. I'm a little panicked. Isn't it easy to misunderstand what you said?" Chen Guang said. Wenwen laughed. "Bro, I'm helping you. You've been single for 3 years, and in another year, you'll be kicked out of school. I know that I'm a beautiful lady, and I've raised your aesthetic standards, making you picky. As your best friend, I feel very ashamed and remorseful. It's my fault for being too beautiful. I think this Sun Xiaoxuan is not bad, and she's also very beautiful. If I can really get you two together because of this, won't you thank me?" "That makes sense." Chen Guang was left speechless. He felt that Wenwen definitely didn't say everything, but he knew that it was pointless for him to ask again. She was like this. If she was willing to tell you, she would tell you from the beginning. If she didn't want to say it, you wouldn't be able to hear it even if you held a knife to your neck. Wenwen looked at her watch. Okay, your competition is about to start, so don't talk nonsense with me. You've been playing games, competing in swimming, and going to the police station for the past few days. Don't forget what you have to do. The CET4 exam is only 2 weeks away. If you fail again, your degree will be gone. This lady's blood-vomiting boob bounty is also going to be ruined. How does she know I'm in the police station? Chen Guang's heart skipped a beat, but before he could ask again, the woman hung up the phone. I've had enough. Why do you always only say half of what you want to say? Isn't this torturing me? Class rep Sun, Oh, class rep son, why are you so naive? Didn't you notice the nature of Wunwen, this tomboy? A normal man can like anyone, but he can't like her. At most, we can only be considered as gay. What kind of jealousy are you eating? Is there a need to give me a nirvana rebirth metamorphosis? Chen Guang fiercely hung up the phone. He didn't realize that the reason why he could change Sun Xiaoxuan's mentality was because Wenwen deliberately made Sun Xiaoxuan feel like a love rival. However, if Sun Xiaoxuan's feelings weren't so firm, then this love rival identity wouldn't be established. At this moment, he completely forgot that less than an hour ago, there was still police officer Wu Tong, who loved him to death last night, and today became his creditor, who was also hung up by him. Chapter 67. Come to think of it, Wenwen's big sale, hee, I'm looking forward to it. At that time, all I need to do is cover her face with a piece of paper. She should forget the cruel truth that I'm a tomboy and enjoy my exclusive benefits wholeheartedly, right? That's right, I have to cover my face. Otherwise, I won't be able to stand it. With this in mind, Chen Guang dived into the pool in a daze. Without any suspense, those who were unfortunately placed in the same group as him in the second round of the preliminaries once again fell under his tight-fitting pomegranate swimming trunks. Dong Tao might have used his connections to avoid Chen Guang in the second round of the preliminaries. However, Chen Guang had also grasped a little about the way to enter the water. Without slapping the water with his palms, his speed had increased. Even if Dong Tao was given another chance, he wouldn't end up any better. After leaving him in the dust, it was time for him to enjoy the passionate pursuit of the people in the swimming complex. After yesterday's incident, Torpedo Light had become a celebrity in the school's swimming circle, a typical representative of the masters among the people. The number of fans he had also increased from 0 to many. It was a qualitative change. Chen Guang had just taken a shower and was walking out of the changing room in casual clothes. He bumped into Coach Qin. Student Chen Guang. Please wait. Coach Qin still didn't give up. Coach Qin. Look over there. It's going to fall. It's going to hit someone. Chen Guang squatted down and suddenly pointed at the ceiling of the swimming complex, his face full of horror. Coach Qin's heart skipped a beat. He quickly turned his head and looked in the direction Chen Guang was pointing at. Strange, there was nothing there. When he turned his head again, Chen Guang had already slipped away. As he ran, he wiped his tears at the girls waiting for him at the door. Cute little girls, it's not that I don't want to stay and talk philosophy with you, it's just that the conditions don't allow me to. If I had the chance, I would like to exchange numbers with each of you, have dinner with you, sing karaoke, and have some fun. But I can't. Coach Qin was too clingy. Damn Coach Qin. Damn Coach Qin. With a monstrous hatred for Qin Yuanhua, Chen Guang ran out of the swimming complex with tears and snot and went straight to the parking lot. My brother, Chen Guang, is going to make a comeback? He happily drove out of the school. Although he felt a little lonely and cold when he thought that he would soon become a pauper again, there was a high chance that he would not be satisfied in this world. Since the money was gone, he could earn it again. Nothing could stop him from living happily. At least he was much happier than Pan Jiang, who was treating eggs in the hospital, right? That afternoon, Chen Guang of it. Of Coach Chen Guang. Chin of it. Chin Guan of 2 to 2 of 2 to 2 of zhou. Of chin of to any. Chin of goof car of 2 4 for 4. He parked the car on the side of the road and calculated for a while. Deducting the cost of the gas, he could earn a net profit of nearly 200 yuan. Just thinking about it made him feel good. He swallowed his saliva and muttered to himself. He had one last regret today. The girl from Dechuan Conservatory of Music that he had just pulled was very pretty. He had been chatting along the way, and he could have asked for her phone number. Unfortunately, he was thirsty and wanted to drink water. She accidentally noticed his Hello Kitty cup cover. Well, this time it was all for naught. The other party thought that he was a little pink and immediately lost the mood to talk. Now that he thought about it, his heart was throbbing in pain. The scumbags in the Louting Network's drivers group were bragging about how they could pull beautiful girls to bed from time to time when they pulled for customers. Why was the old man young, handsome, humorous, and witty? He had been driving for more than half a year. How could he still get a 0? There was no reason. Oh, that's right. Those scumbags all drove BMWs. His Hyundai was borrowed. If a worker wanted to do a good job, he must first sharpen his tools. When will I be able to be like everyone else, driving a Panamera and paging a car on the internet? With a trace of melancholy and a trace of resentment, Chen Guang started the car and prepared to go back to school. How could he have known that someone had driven him to the brink of collapse during this entire day? That's right, that person was Wu Tong. The dignified Wenxing branch's domineering police beauty, Wu Tong, who had beaten everyone in Wujing City's police force, had actually been defeated by a third-year boy. How could she tolerate this? Last night, she had inexplicably become infatuated with him. That was a huge grudge. Not being able to lock him up for 15 days was the second biggest grudge. In addition, she had been away from home for almost 3 months. She had been living frugally. Even her skincare products had been bought from the sparrow antelope. The 10,000 yuan that she had saved with great difficulty had all been used up. How dare you go back on your words? You even made up some nonsense about Xianxia? This was the third biggest grudge. Xianxia, right? Cave, right? Savage, right? Aren't you just in Wujing City? I'll beat you until you turn into a savage. Wu Tong was furious because of the additional enmity. After using a lot of connections, she finally obtained the online monitoring rights of Chen Guang's phone. Then, she took half a day off from the police station and drove off with her teeth clenched. When it came to using connections, once a precedent was set, it was like a crack in a dam. It would not be easy to stop it. With the anger of a girl who had been hurt by love and the persistence of a creditor, Wu Tong today was even fiercer than a tigress. She was probably at the level of Wu Song, who had killed a tiger. Chen Guang's location would be sent to her phone every 10 minutes. Usually, this was a technical method used to deal with a heavyweight fugitive suspect. It was not easy for Wu Tong to get it. When she first received his location, Chen Guang was still in Gokyo University. Wu Tong thought it would be a piece of cake to catch him, but she did not expect that this was just the beginning of her nightmare. 10 minutes later, when she drove to the entrance of Gokyo University, Chen Guang had already run to Daejian Road outside Wenxing Town. Another 10 minutes later, Wu Tong finally reached Daejian Road, but Chen Guang had already entered Wujing City's 3rd Ring Road. Ah! I'm going to strangle you to death, you bastard! Wu Tong roared as she started the car and continued to chase after him. An hour later, Wu Tong began to doubt her life. She even called the Municipal Bureau's information department and questioned their professionalism. She even suspected that her connections were not good enough, and she was deliberately tricked by the information department. Otherwise, how could she explain why he appeared in a completely different location every time? The people from the information department repeatedly said that there was no problem with the location system. Since they had agreed to this, they would not deliberately trick you. They guaranteed that the location data they provided was not false. For this to happen, it could only mean that the other party was indeed in constant motion. Wu Tong felt that her whole body was not good. Are you a perpetual motion machine or something? Once you stop, your heart will stop beating? Will you die? Another 2 hours passed, and Wu Tong's car ran out of gas, and the engine stalled halfway. She stopped the car by the side of the road, her face ashen and covered in dust. For the whole day, Wu Tong was so afraid of losing him that she did not even notice the warning light of the fuel tank. Great, now it actually stopped. It was just tracking a student? Why was it more difficult than tracking an international criminal? You bastard, even if you knew I was going to chase you for a debt, you didn't have to run from the south of the city to the east of the city, then from the east to the west, then from the west to the north of the city around the 2nd Ring Road, then directly to the newly built East Railway Station, and then I can't take it anymore. You're just a student, but your anti-tracking ability is out of this world. I choose to die. In the end, Wu Tong had no choice but to call Wang Long for help and get him to send a barrel of oil over. In the process, she even tearfully complained about Qin Guang's wandering around the entire day and expressed her doubts about his identity as a student. There was no reason for a normal student to run so many places in a day. This guy must be a spy from the enemy country. I have to catch him and interrogate him. Wang Long only used one sentence to make Wu Tong speechless. Wang Long said, "Since he's a student, he'll have to go back to school sooner or later. Why are you chasing him all over the city? He can't just not stop for the rest of his life, can he?" Wu Tong wanted to strangle herself. Chapter 68. At 10:30 at night, Qin Guang drove leisurely back to school, summarizing his gains and losses for the day in his heart. From time to time, he would recite the golden rule of doing business, or else he would wail like a ghost and howl like a wolf. In order to deal with the elusive Emperor of the Azure and the heavenly Holy Grail, Qin Guang was really tired. He felt extremely helpless about this. As the owner of a Goldfinger, he did not feel the thrill of being able to save the world and dominate the world by lying down. This simple life was more tiring than being a villain, and he could not even relax his mind. If he was not careful, he would fall into a trap. Wu Tong parked her car outside Gokyo University and stared at the intersection. If one wanted to drive into Gokyo University from the outside, this intersection was the only way. She planned to block people here. However, there was something that she was particularly concerned about. It seemed that she was not the only one who had this plan. On the other side of the intersection, there were two vans parked in the forest beside the road. From time to time, there were people peeking at the intersection from that direction. With Wu Tong's professional eyes, she could tell at a glance that this group of people was a little sneaky. She did not take it seriously. If they were really planning to do something illegal, she could make a contribution today. The Wenxing branch was only a few minutes' drive away from here. If the situation was not good, she could send out an internal distress signal, and her colleagues would be able to arrive in 10 minutes at the latest. The other party had obviously seen Wu Tong, but they did not take her seriously. At this time, Wu Tong was wearing casual clothes and driving her own private off-road vehicle instead of a police car. No matter how one looked at her, no one would think that she was a police officer. They would only think that she was a delicate beauty. Wu Tong's phone rang. She picked it up and looked at it. She immediately sat up straight, and her expression became more focused. The GPS showed that Qin Guang's current location was less than 5 minutes' drive away from here. About 20 minutes ago, he began to approach the direction of Gokyo University from the city. He was going back to school. Wu Tong began to observe the situation at the intersection. At the same time, she was also thinking about how to safely stop Qin Guang later. After all, the purpose of her visit this time was to beat up Qin Guang and turn him into a savage. Otherwise, Wu Tong would directly go to school and wait for him. It's better to beat people up outside the school. Although I'm a public servant, I still have to pay attention to my image. Lights shone from the intersection from afar. Calculating the time, it was about time for Qin Guang's car to arrive. Wu Tong had already opened the door and got out of the car. She was about to reach out her hand to stop the car. At this moment, the group of people on the other side of the intersection suddenly became active. A person was talking on the phone while getting out of the car and shouting something. Two people who were originally standing on the side of the road heard the person shouting and suddenly grabbed two palm-sized rocks from the roadside. Wu Tong's heart went cold. Could it be that these people were also here to stop Qin Guang? Not only did they have people guarding here, but they also had spies at the intersection ahead. They came prepared. Wu Tong couldn't hear what the people on the other side were shouting. The only thing she could be sure of was that this group of people was really here to stop Qin Guang. At this moment, the lights on the other side became brighter and brighter. Qin Guang's car was coming. Qin Guang didn't know that there was a group of people waiting for him in front of him. As usual, when he turned the corner, he slightly braked, slowed down, and prepared to turn right. This place had a speed limit of 40 kilometers per hour. There was a huge pit and there was a surveillance camera just around the corner. If one wasn't an experienced driver, it would be very easy to be tricked here. Every time he passed by this place, old driver Chen would feel very accomplished. He would look up proudly and look at the surveillance camera with a rather disdainful gaze. Trying to trick me? No way. However, things were a little different today. Two people suddenly ran over from the opposite side of the road. It was very sudden and strange. Behind these two people were about 12 or 13 people, and they were very aggressive. When he took a closer look, he saw that the two people running at the front had their right hands raised flat on their shoulders, and in their palms, they were holding a big orange rock. The other party was clearly coming for him. F***CK. Just as Chen Guang cursed, the two people made their move. With a wave of their hands, the rock in their hands flew out, heading towards his front windshield. Although he didn't know where the other party came from, he could only take it. He slammed on the brakes. Before the car came to a stop, one of the two rocks had already hit the front windshield. Bang! Even tempered glass could not withstand such a powerful rock, let alone a direct hit. The glass cracked and caved in. Cracks like a spider web spread from the top of the glass to the bottom, from the left to the right, accompanied by the creaking sound of ice breaking. The shape of the cracks was regular, like a meticulously carved work of art. If this wasn't his car, Chen Guang would definitely sigh in his heart. This F***King rock was thrown with such a high standard. It was the reincarnation of Van Gogh. The other rock hit the hood of the car with a loud bang and left a large dent. That wasn't the end. After the two people threw the rock, they moved to the side. From the group of people behind them, more than 10 eggs flew over. Even if these people didn't throw very accurately, only 3 eggs hit the front windshield. The egg whites and yolks almost blocked the driver's vision. It was useless to use the windshield wiper. It would only make the wiper more messy. The other party acted quickly and premeditatedly. They didn't want him to drive away. The car finally came to a dead stop. Half of the car was pressed against the roadside. Chen Guang's heart ached for the big dent on his windshield and hood as he opened the door and got out. The other party had a lot of people and they were coming at him aggressively. The car's vision was completely blocked, and he couldn't drive anymore. Of course, he had to get out of the car as soon as possible. He couldn't let himself be trapped in the car. He reached into his pocket and took out his baton. With a bang, the baton was pulled straight. Chen Guang stood in front of the car with the baton. "Tell me, who are you people? What do you want from me? Draw a line." As he spoke, Chen Guang was also sizing up the other party's clothes and behavior. His left hand was still in his pocket. It looked like he was pretending, but he was actually calling the police. There were about 14 people on the other side. Some of them had machetes in their hands, while others had iron rods. Some of them had dyed their hair, while others had shaved their heads. Some of them had tattoos on their shoulders, while others had tattoos that covered half of their faces. Most of them were wearing black vests, and the two walking at the back were wearing shirts. Basically, as long as one wasn't stupid, they could tell that these people weren't decent people. Maybe they were gangsters or something. Compared to this group of people, Chen Guang felt that Wu Tong was actually quite cute. As his imagination ran wild, he looked at his car and felt pain in his heart. The front windshield was 800, and the dent on the hood was at least 700 to 800. That was another 1,000 yuan gone. Annoying. What are you doing? Stop. At this moment, a strong figure moved from an off-road vehicle about 50 meters in front of them. She dashed over and shouted. Chen Guang's heart skipped a beat. "I haven't even made the call yet, and you're already here. Are you Chow Chow?" "That's right, it's Wu Tong." Things happened too fast, and the group of people acted too decisively. Wu Tong didn't even have time to stop them before Chen Guang's car was violently intercepted. But she absolutely wouldn't allow the two sides to fight in front of her. "Do you think I don't exist?" Chapter 69. Seeing Wu Tong yelling and running closer and closer, Chen Guang felt rather conflicted. On the one hand, he was afraid of this creditor. As a man in debt, when he saw his creditor, he basically felt like a mouse seeing a cat, naturally inferior. On the other hand, he considered her identity. After all, she was a police officer. She came so quickly, and if she kept an eye on him, it wouldn't be good for him to hit her too hard. If he hit her in front of her, the scene would be too bloody and violent, and he would seriously injure her. This woman could change from a comrade to an enemy at any time. It was unreasonable for her to put him in jail for 15 days at any time. Today wasn't like yesterday. Last night, she was controlled by her emotions once and turned Lu Li into a hot girl in a bikini. If it happened again, the dignified empress would probably be naked. Even if Qin Guang agreed to it, Lu Li wouldn't agree to it. However, the other party had a lot of people after all. If he didn't hit her hard, if he really took a knife, he would be in serious trouble. Why don't you show your police officer badge, or you can take out your gun to scare them? Zhao Yu thought. Or should I abandon the car and run away first? How about I leave this big scene to you, a public servant of the people? Chen Guang had this idea. If it wasn't Wu Tong but some other male police officer, he wouldn't hesitate to run away. But looking at the dozen or so people on the other side, he thought that if he ran away, with Wu Tong's temperament, she would definitely fight them head-on. If she really didn't bring a gun and fell into the hands of such a group of gangsters and bandits, she might be in big trouble. Before she became a police officer, she was even more of a delicate woman. God knows what would happen in the end. After all, the other party had come for her, and she would also suffer an undeserved disaster. Chen Guang prided himself on being a man. He couldn't do such a despicable thing. Well, it seemed that he was going to fight alongside her today. Little girl, you like to meddle in other people's business? It's none of your business here. You'd better get lost. Otherwise, after we cripple this brat, we don't mind dragging you back to have some fun. We have more than 10 people here. I'm afraid you won't be able to handle it. The one who spoke was one of the two men in shirts. He had short hair and a long scar on his face that stretched from the corner of his eye to his chin. His expression was ferocious. His entire face was raised, and the tip of his chin was at a 45-degree angle. As he opened his mouth to speak, the scar on his face stretched diagonally, looking longer than it actually was. As he opened and closed his mouth, it squirmed like a caterpillar, looking particularly eerie and terrifying. This was Brother Knife Scar's signature provocative pose after roaming the Jianghu for many years. It was extremely domineering. Needless to say, everyone in the underworld knew that when Brother Scar made such a gesture, it meant that he was about to flip out and someone was going to be unlucky. The other man in the shirt also took a step forward and stood side by side with Brother Scar. He was the one who had made the phone call when they were fighting. People in Jianghu called him Glasses Wu. Together with Brother Scar, they were big brothers in the area around Gokyo University. Brother Scar was in charge of punching and kicking, while Glasses Wu was in charge of scheming. The two of them cooperated with each other, and in the past 2 years, they had been doing very well. Little girl, as a person, it's most important to be happy. You have a sense of justice, but you also have to see what you can get involved in and what you can't. Look at you, you look like a lady from a wealthy family. At such a young age, you can drive a Wrangler that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your family must be rich, right? The young miss of a rich family was very precious. Don't get involved in our trivial matters. Today I, your brother, make the decision. You leave immediately, and we'll pretend that we didn't hear or see anything. You're not a police officer, so why do you care so much? Glasses Wu was indeed different. His words were very pleasant to listen to. If it wasn't Wu Tong here today, she would have been persuaded by him. Unfortunately, Wu Tong was really a police officer. Moreover, she was a police officer with a strong sense of justice. Wu Tong had only been in the Wenxing town branch for less than 3 months. Brother Scar and Eyeglasses Wu often visited each other at the dock, so they knew every single person in the Wenxing town branch like the back of their hands. However, Wu Tong was a newcomer, so they didn't recognize her. Then I'm really sorry. Wu Tong's face turned serious. She was already standing next to Chen Guang, who was holding a baton. She coldly looked at Brother Scar and the others. You don't say. I don't care what you say today. This matter, I'm going to take care of it today. Oh, I gave you face, but you don't want it? Do you really think we're made of mud? I've been paid to get rid of this disaster. Today, I'm going to cut off this brat Chen Guang's shoulders and break his balls. Since you don't know what's good for you and want to interfere, Then I'll chop off your legs too. Brother Scar was never a kind person. Seeing Wu Tong didn't know what's good for her, he waved his hand and ordered his men to step forward. Chen Guang popped his head out from Wu Tong's side. Wu, brat, this is none of your business. Scram. Everything is clear. In broad daylight. You actually dare to hire a hitman to hurt someone right under my nose. I can't tolerate this. Before Chen Guang could finish his words, Wu Tong's blood boiled and boiled. It's nighttime now. Chen Guang quietly said. Wu Tong rolled her eyes. AI. These people are here to cause trouble for you. I'm here to help you. Can you not ridicule me and ruin my momentum at this time? Are you friend or foe? You still have the mood to ridicule? Go. Beat that Chen guy up first. I'll take care of that girl alone. Brother Scar walked forward while cracking his knuckles. The muscles on his shoulders bounced up and down, full of vigor. The other lackeys who had rushed to the front rushed forward, especially the two men in tank tops who had thrown stones at the car. They were clearly the ones in charge of the group. One of them wielded a machete while the other held a steel baseball bat and rushed forward. Chen Guang knew that things couldn't go well. His right hand grabbed the baseball bat and planned to pass by Wu Tong to stand in front. It was easy to deal with the others, but these two were the ones who damaged his car the most. It was a life-and-death feud. Just as he took a step forward, Wu Tong, who was beside him, shouted in surprise, Yo! You're not bad, kid. You have a controlled knife with you? Give it to me to use. Just as Wu Tong said that, Chen Guang's armpit was attacked from behind. Under the pain, he loosened his grip on the baseball bat, and the weapon was taken by Wu Tong. It's hard to defend against a teammate. Chen Guang never thought that Wu Tong, as a teammate, would try to take the weapon in his hand. She really did it. In the next second, Wu Tong had already started fighting with the two people in front. Her title as the female overlord of Wujing City's police force wasn't just for show. With two clang-clang sounds, Wu Tong, one on the left and one on the right, knocked the items out of the hands of the two men in front of her. Then, with two lightning-fast flying kicks, one aimed at the abdomen, the other at the side of the head. The two men screamed and fell to the side. They finally started fighting. Without the weapon in his hand, Chen Guang couldn't be afraid. I'm the second officer of the An Royal. I'll go too. Why would I be afraid of you small fries? Let me lend you a hand. As he shouted, Chen Guang thought of the lines that he often saw on TV when generals fought. The third side general would often shout out the lines, and his tone was even deliberately imitating the tone of his lines. What was a professional actor? This was a professional. He wouldn't give the heavenly Holy Grail any chance. Chapter 70. Get out of the way. Chen Guang had just rushed to Wu Tong's side when Wu Tong shouted and used her other hand to block him behind her. Her other hand was holding the baton in front of her. This woman was really not weak. Even though she was fighting against many, she was still able to wield the baton like a tiger and was actually able to gain the upper hand. Wu Tong had her own reasons for snatching the blade from Chen Guang. She thought that Chen Guang was a hothead who didn't know how to control his strength. Snatching his weapon was also to protect him. She was afraid that Chen Guang would smash someone to death with his baton. As for Wu Tong, she relied on the fact that she had received professional training and was an expert in kickboxing. Although she seemed to be swinging her stick like a madman, in reality, she only aimed at non-vital areas such as shoulders, arms, and legs. Even if she hit them, she would at most break a bone. This sister is a public servant and dealing with these people is just carrying out her duties. It doesn't matter if I injure them. It was also because she didn't have a gun on her, otherwise Wu Tong would have directly pulled out her gun to scare them. On the other side, Chen Guang was in a difficult situation. He had originally planned to use the many killing moves that he had learned in the Sea of Transient to give these people a quick death. He never thought that he would be constantly interrupted by Wu Tong. Move aside, Chen Guang anxiously said. Waving her right hand, Wu Tong knocked another person down before she rammed her left shoulder into Chen Guang, causing him to stagger. Get up. Don't obstruct official business. Chen Guang then noticed that in just a short 10 seconds, Wu Tong had already knocked down 4 people. Female hero. Why are you so strong? He didn't know if it was because the quality of his baton was too good or if it was because this woman's strength was too heavy, but those who were hit by her were all holding their injuries and groaning on the ground. The situation changed too quickly and caught everyone off guard. Brother Scar, who was experienced and knowledgeable, finally realized something. This woman looked delicate, but her technique was not ordinary. She was not simply trained, but a true professional. His own little brother had been beaten up like a chicken or a dog. Brother Scar also felt that his face had lost face. Knife Scar, wait. Eyeglasses Wu was about to say something. Brother Scar howled and rushed forward. When the eldest brother appeared, his aura was naturally different from that of the younger brother. He strode forward and took out 2 nunchakus from behind him. He had been immersed in this path for many years. The 2 nunchakus made of pure stainless steel danced like silver dragons coming out of their caves, sweeping away the clouds. Moving to Wu Tong's side, Brother Scar struck out with his dual rods. With 2 clanging sounds, Wu Tong's originally unstoppable rod finally met its match and was hit to the side. Wu Tong was powerful, but Brother Knife Scar was able to get to the top position in Wenxing Town at such a young age, and it wasn't an undeserved reputation. Finally, someone who could fight came. Wu Tong was in high spirits and shouted, "Come on! Interesting! Awesome! Again!" Watching from the side, Chen Guang could only watch helplessly as he exclaimed, "You took away my stuff. You're having a good time. But you should at least think about me. Kid, you run first. Don't worry about your car. After I take care of these people, they'll pay for it." Wu Tong finally reacted and almost forgot about the main character of the day. But she was fighting fiercely with Brother Scar and couldn't get away. She said this without turning her head. When experts fought, the scene was extremely dangerous. The others couldn't get close, or else they might be accidentally injured. Chen Guang didn't want to leave at first, but Wu Tong was gradually gaining the upper hand in the fight with Brother Scar. Chen Guang felt that he didn't have any weapons, so he couldn't help much even if he went up. If he continued to stay here, if he could hit hard, even if he got injured, he might be able to take care of the other small fries with his bare hands. But he had to be wary of Wu Tong's identity as a police officer. He didn't have any weapons and he couldn't hit hard. The other side had knives, guns, and clubs. Since that was the case, it was better to make a strategic retreat and change to a spectator mode. If the situation turned bad, then he would make a plan. But now it seemed that even if Wu Tong was alone with the sharpness of the club and her skills, she might really be able to take care of these people. Chen Guang was happy. "Well, since you're so confident, and you look so majestic." The old man's body was slightly unwell, so he had to go first. He was also quick to see the opportunity. The other people saw that they couldn't get involved in the fight between Brother Scar and Wu Tong, so they turned around and came to him. "Officer Wu, you cover the back. I'll take my leave first." Chen Guang hollered before he turned around and fled. The meticulous eyeglasses Wu had already stealthily brought 2 people behind him. He couldn't stop Brother Scar from attacking, so he could only take care of this side for the time being. He smiled sinisterly and said, "Little bastard, you want to run? That easy?" "Wait, what did he just say? Officer Wu?" Why did the last 2 words sound familiar? Officer? But Chen Guang, remember to come to the station and pay the fine yourself. Today, I helped you take care of the matter. On the other side, Wu Tong still had the time to talk to Chen Guang while fighting with Scarface. She seemed to be in a relaxed mood. While Eyeglasses Wu was absent-minded, Chen Guang had already run out. From now on, he was free to fly in the sky, and free to swim in the sea. "Officer Wu Tong, thank you for your kindness. If you die in the line of duty, I'll be there for your funeral." Although he said so, Chen Guang didn't really run away, but stopped after 2 steps. He looked back and was ready to save her at any time. On the other side, Eyeglasses Wu shouted, "Scar, stop. The woman in front of you is a police officer. Stop right now." These so-called gray forces were more or less jumping around in front of ordinary people. Recently, there were all kinds of rectification and all kinds of evildoers. How would these small fries dare to wave their swords and guns at the police? They couldn't hide when they saw them. If they really couldn't hide, they would nod and bow, hand cigarettes, and so on. They even had to pat their chests and promise that they had been doing small businesses, such as opening a game hall or a small internet cafe. Eyeglasses Wu already felt that the woman was very professional, and now that he confirmed that she was a police officer, he couldn't care less about Brother Scar's fierce fight and shouted. When Brother Scar heard this, his heart skipped a beat. His hand trembled, and the nunchaku that was sweeping stopped halfway. What did you say? Police? Oh my God. He did intend to stop, so he stopped the nunchaku that was flying halfway. But in the end, his hand stopped, but the nunchaku didn't. The nunchaku flew out of his hand and hit Wu Tong's head. Thump. Aya! Wu Tong's crazy movements came to an abrupt stop, and she glared at Brother Scar for about 3 seconds before cursing, "You cheated." Then there was nothing else. Wu Tong's eyes turned black, and she fainted. She fell to the ground like a dead pig. On the other side, Qin Guang's face darkened. "My sister, you're not playing by the rules. Weren't you acting almighty just now?" The others had already given up and let go of their weapons. "Why did you use your head to receive this blow? Aren't you making it impossible for them to surrender?" Chapter 71. He couldn't care less and rushed into the crowd again. F***CK. You guys really dare to do this? Do you know who this is? That guy on TV 2 days ago? That's right, isn't there a department head in Dechuan province with the surname Wu? I think he's called Wu Shan. This is his daughter Wu Tong. Of course, it wasn't because Qin Guang had sharp eyes and saw through Wu Tong's real identity. He was purely trying to scare these people by suddenly thinking of an official on TV. He didn't know that he was right. Hey, he really lived up to his teeth. But now, Scarface and Eyeglasses Wu were completely dumbfounded. Surname Wu? Wrangler? Young and good at fighting? Temper like a spoiled young lady? Police? Eyeglasses Wu's face turned pale. Could it be? No. Could it be her? You guys better think about how to deal with this. Don't think about killing us. It's just an injury. If you guys are really stupid, I'll find her even if I have to dig 3 feet into the ground. At this moment, Chen Guang had already rushed to Wu Tong's side and stood in front of her. At the same time, he inwardly spat. Did I really think that you're an expert? If I knew that you're so weak, I wouldn't have let you go alone. At this time, Eyeglasses Wu and Scarface felt wronged. I'm going to pull back. But I didn't expect the nunchaku to fall out of my hand. She's obviously very capable. How did I get hit by a fluke? How can I endure the fate of making fools of me? Scarface had a headache. He didn't know what to do. He looked at Eyeglasses Wu, hoping that he would make a decision. So here's the problem. Originally, they just took 100,000 yuan from Pan Yu to find trouble with the student. They just needed to beat the student up to Pan Yu's request. Scarface and Eyeglasses Wu were familiar with this kind of business. If they said they would beat the student up to 0.75, they would never beat the student up to 0.76. Although 100,000 yuan wasn't a lot, it wasn't a small amount either. The matter wasn't complicated either. If it was done well, they could also get on Pan Yu's good side. In the future, they might be able to cooperate with Pan Yu's company. This was supposed to be a happy thing, but in the actual process, there was an accident, and the situation was very serious. He had taken down a police officer, and he was a second-generation police officer with an official background. Facing such a situation, what should he do? Eyeglasses Wu was indeed a genius. It only took him 5 seconds to come up with a decision. He tugged at Brother Scar's sleeve, turned his head, aimed in a direction, and shouted, "Run!" Of the 36 stratagems, retreat is the best stratagem. Although there was a surveillance camera at the corner of the road, the direction that Glasses Wu took the lead in was the blind spot of the surveillance camera. He didn't know how badly injured the policewoman was. Anyway, it was better to run first. Later on, she would refuse to admit it, or try her best to make up for it. If she had to pay, she would pay. If she had to run, she would run. It was definitely not a good idea to stay here and be caught red-handed. The few people who were knocked to the ground earlier also recovered one after another. The others who could still move also supported each other and prepared to escape. Trying to run after acting tough? Chen Guang didn't agree. He took the baton from the unconscious Wu Tong and sprinted forward. In a few steps, he stood in front of Glasses Wu and Brother Scar. "Brat, we came for you today. Now that there's an accident, we're in a hurry to leave, but you still came to us to court death? Do you believe that I only need 5 seconds to take care of you? It won't take too much time." Brother Scar laughed sinisterly, raised his baton and pounced forward. It was a bit painful to accidentally hurt the policewoman. If he just ran away like this, he would indeed suffer a double loss. If he could take care of this brat before he left, he could at least protect his wife. Seeing him coming aggressively, Chen Guang grinned. "Is that so? 5 seconds? You don't have a lot of work to do?" Although Brother Scar was very powerful, Chen Guang wasn't bad either. The killing techniques that Chen Guang learned in the Sea of Time were also time-tested. He might not be able to win, but he wouldn't be easily defeated. Moreover, he just wanted to stall these people. As early as when Wu Tong came over, Chen Guang quietly called Yao Ling. He still hadn't hung up the phone and it was still connected. If the people in the Wenxing branch weren't idiots, it wouldn't take long for them to arrive. "Oh, you're quite stubborn, huh? But you're just a *T university student. No matter how hard your mouth is, it can't be used as a fist. Grandpa, I will teach you the principles of an adult in society." Brother Scar swung the baton in his right hand horizontally. The tip of the baton went straight for Chen Guang's shoulder. His left hand swung up and went straight for Chen Guang's chin. Seeing the opportunity, Chen Guang abruptly took a step back and avoided the range of the nunchaku. At the same time, he swung the nunchaku in his hand toward Scarface's nunchaku. He first knocked away the nunchaku in his right hand before swinging it towards the nunchaku in his left hand. The two batons collided. The strength in Brother Scar's left hand was slightly weaker, so the baton turned around and was about to hit his face. Brother Scar quickly put away his thoughts of underestimating his enemy. He raised his neck and raised his left hand slightly. The baton that was spinning at high speed was swung across the bridge of his nose. He broke out in a cold sweat. He took a few steps back and stared at Chen Guang. His eyes no longer had the slightest bit of insolence from before. All that was left was 100% fear. "Brat, you have some skills, huh?" "Just what kind of underworld are you in?" Brother Scar asked. Chen Guang swung the baton to his side, blocking Wu Jing and the others who wanted to slip away. He laughed and said, "Aren't you very clear? Since Pan Jiang asked you guys to deal with me, he would not tell you guys anything, right? Aren't I a student of this Gokyo University? I guarantee it." Brother Scar frowned again. In his heart, he only believed less than 30% of Chen Guang's words. He was indeed a university student. But from the short exchange between the two of them, this person's skills were not bad. Perhaps he was on the same level as the policewoman who was knocked out by accident. However, although the policewoman's skills were skilled, she was somewhat immature. Although her fighting skills were exquisite, she lacked experience. She lacked a layer of experience and ruthlessness. But this Chen Guang was completely different. Although he looked unorthodox, his moves were extremely ruthless. In the short exchange, he gave off a feeling that he was in a life-and-death situation. This seemingly laughing and joking university student, once he got serious, he actually had a murderous aura that was rarely seen in the underworld. This kind of murderous aura wasn't something mystical. Instead, it was a kind of psychological pressure that came from a person whose hands were truly stained with human lives. When he fought with others, it was the kind of disregard for his opponent's life that formed a psychological pressure. This was something that could really be felt. This guy was a hidden expert. That silly look just now was just an act to fool people, wasn't it? Brother Scar's guess wasn't wrong. Ever since he left the transient sea, Chen Guang had spent a lot of effort to change his temperament that he had developed on the An Royal. Previously, when he fought with people in school, he only got a little serious with Kim Jongpan. Unfortunately, that taekwondo expert was just an empty shell. He was defeated in one move, so he wasn't able to fight to his heart's content. Later on, he met second Uncle Wen. That old man was so strong that he couldn't be reasoned with. When I was fighting with you, you pulled out some internal energy to cheat. I don't even know what that is. Everyone's level wasn't even on the same level. There was no way to play or have a pleasant conversation. Today, he met Brother Scar, this so-called underworld person. The other party was hired to cause trouble. Chen Guang had long wanted to take the opportunity to fight to his heart's content. Chapter 72. Unfortunately, this was the real world, not the world in a cup created by the heavenly Holy Grail, where it couldn't easily take someone's life. Otherwise, Chen Guang would have at least 3 ways to kill Brother Scar on the spot. He was someone who had died 95 times. If they were to fight to the death and both parties were of similar skill levels, they could trade injury for injury and life for life. Chen Guang had a wealth of experience trading 1 for 1, so unless he was courting death, he would definitely win. Killing the other party was actually much easier than beating him fair and square. Chen Guang was indeed struggling to control his thoughts of killing the other party. He was a little tired. That Pan guy found us such a powerful opponent, but he only gave us 100,000 yuan. That's not fair at all. We've been scammed. Eyeglasses Wu said with an ugly expression. Brother Scar nodded. Logically speaking, that's true. But since we've already accepted the job, whether we make a profit or lose is a matter of the future. Right now, he's not letting us go. Chen Guang's face darkened. That's right. None of you can leave today. Because, look over there. There's a surprise. Following the direction Chen Guang was pointing at, 3 police cars were speeding over, sirens blaring and lights flashing. Bureau Chief Ding had just figured out Wu Tong's background last night, and such a thing had happened today. How could he let it go? First, Wu Tong's internal communication device sent a distress signal, followed by Chen Guang's live broadcast of the police station. Chief Ding happened to be the leader on duty at the station tonight, and when he heard the news, he almost pissed his pants. It was like poking a hornet's nest, and the entire station exploded. From the time the signal was received to the time all the officers were dispatched, not even a minute had passed. Weren't they already here? They had practically broken the record for the fastest dispatch of the Wenxing station. Seeing that these people were so scared that their legs turned to jelly, Chen Guang struck while the iron was hot. All right, I advise you guys not to run. If nothing happens to Wu Tong, then today's incident isn't too important. You guys can just hand over the person behind the contract and deal with him accordingly. If Wu Tong is seriously injured, where can you run to? How about this? She was looking for me for something today. She's an acquaintance. Old man, I still have some say in front of Wu Tong. Now that my car has been smashed by you, if you can properly compensate me for the money you owe me, I'll be happy and put in a good word for you later. Then things can be a little better. What do you think? Brother Scar hung his head in resentment. There was really no way to run. Eyeglasses Wu, who was at the side, tactfully came forward. Fine, we brothers admit defeat today. At the end of the day, the fault lies with Pan Dehai, the vice president of Tongyun Construction Company. He was the one who paid us to stop you. He only said that you're a university student and didn't say anything else. We were unlucky to bump into this policewoman. We didn't know how powerful you were. We'll admit defeat. Chen Guang waved his hand impatiently. I don't need you to tell me who asked you to come here. You can go back and tell the police about this. Take out the money. Take out as much as you have on you. Hurry up. The police cars were about to arrive. Strictly speaking, it would only cost around 1,000 RMB to fix the car. If they didn't take this opportunity to extort money, they wouldn't have another chance later. Eyeglasses Wu was also a smart person. He quickly shouted. Quick, everyone, give us your money. Give us as much as you have. Sometimes, small fries like Brother Scar and Eyeglasses Wu were quite pitiful. In front of the other hooligans in town, he looked impressive, but when it came to the people and matters in the police station, he looked like a desolate and helpless citizen. In less than half a minute, these people deftly emptied their pockets, and a bunch of brightly colored banknotes appeared in Eyeglasses Wu's hands. Chen Guang scooped it up and stuffed it into his pocket. It was bulging like a fatty that had eaten too much, and it was filled to the brim. Right at this moment, the 3 police cars screeched to a stop beside them. The sirens were so loud that it made them dizzy. "It's them. Don't let any of them get away." All of a sudden, a roar resounded from behind them, startling Chen Guang, who was counting the money in his pocket. "Big sister, you're awake already. Is the siren your alarm clock or something?" Wu Tong covered her temples with her hands and slowly stood up from the ground. She looked at Brother Scar with hatred in her eyes. She looked as if she wanted to skin him alive. "Despicable scum. How dare you plot against me?" Wu Tong slowly walked over and said fiercely. "It was clearly you who knocked yourself out, big sister. We're just innocent people of the martial arts world who got implicated." Brother Scar and Eyeglasses Wu had tears on their faces. On the other side, Wang Long and a few others had already gotten out of the car. Wang Long and another policewoman moved to Wu Tong's side to take care of her. The other 7 or 8 people were fully armed as they closed in on Brother Scar's group. Chief Ding rushed to the front. He had already pulled out his gun. The black muzzle was pointed at Brother Scar's head. He roared, "Get down. All of you F*King get down. Whoever dares to move, I'll shoot him." The chief took the lead and pulled out his gun. The others naturally followed. It wasn't the first time that Brother Scar had dealt with the people from the Wenxing branch. He was also a familiar face in front of Chief Ding, so he had never seen Chief Ding like this. With a bitter face, he said, "Chief Ding, it's me. Don't. Who the F*ck is familiar with you? Get down." Chief Ding rubbed his fat body. He rushed up and kicked Brother Scar's waist. Then, he professionally took half a step back and pointed his gun at Brother Scar. "Get down. Quick." Brother Scar squatted down. He really didn't dare to resist. Even Chen Guang, who had just made a small fortune, almost suffered a calamity. Fortunately, the police officer who came to arrest him was also on duty last night. He had personally witnessed the ambiguous relationship between Chen Guang and Wu Tong. "Yo, he's one of us. Without waiting for Chen Guang to explain, this good brother helped him out. Chen Guang laughed. "That's right, one of us. Today, I'm still a good Samaritan." "Hee, brother-in-law, you really know how to joke. You helping our sister Tong is a matter of course. What's Samaritan? F*ck. Bro, your ability to hit a snake with a stick is a little unreasonable. Who the F*ck is your brother-in-law? Don't tell me you didn't realize that the sister Tong you were talking about was already standing behind you. She was waving her hand and preparing to give you a surprise attack? Big mouth ma, get lost. This isn't your brother-in-law. Chen Guang, today I've been implicated because of you. Hand it over." Wu Tong covered her head with one hand and spread out her other hand in front of Chen Guang, rubbing her fingers. Chapter 73. Chen Guang was confused. "Huh? You're still acting, aren't you? Do you believe that I will send you in for another 48 hours to assist in the investigation?" Wu Tong gritted her teeth. She had the urge to chop someone up when she thought of what happened today. She followed this idiot around the city in the afternoon. Not only was she exhausted, but she also felt that she was as stupid as a pig. It was not easy for her to stop him here, but she became his shield and helped him avoid a disaster. Otherwise, who knows how badly this guy would have been beaten up. "I'm a good person, giving warmth to the community." Wu Tong did not know that after she fainted, not only did Chen Guang stop Brother Scar and his men, but he also extorted a sum of money from them. She only thought that her colleagues came to her rescue in time. After all, she did wake up when she heard the sirens. When she opened her eyes, she saw her colleagues jumping out of their cars, and Chen Guang was surrounded by them with an innocent look. The more Wu Tong thought about it, the more she felt wronged. She could not accept it, and she could not die in peace. Chen Guang was stunned by her words. She could really send him in for 48 hours. "Every second of my time is precious. How can I waste it in there?" I can't fight back. Chen Guang grinned. Ha, I was just joking with you. This debt could not be denied. It's just that I only have my card with me. I don't have any cash. Chen Guang held onto his pocket and lied. Wu Tong looked as if she had seen through him. She took out her phone from her pocket. PayPal transfer. Don't tell me that you don't have a PayPal when you're a university student. Chen Guang continued to lie. I really don't have any. On the other side, Brother Scar and his men were all obediently waiting to be captured. Wang Long had nothing to do. He came over and took out something from his pocket. I have a Lacara phone card reader here. You can swipe your bank card directly. Damn it. Why are you police officers? Why don't you open a bank? This time, he really couldn't deny it. Chen Guang could only take out his bank card and swipe it for Wu Tong. However, as soon as she woke up, she was in the mood to settle the debt. The blow on her head just now didn't seem to matter, so she was relieved. That was right. Unreasonable Tong Tong would not be easily killed. According to the nature of television dramas, the amnesia buff would definitely be triggered after being hit in the head. Fortunately, this was not a television drama. Chief Ding came over and wanted Wu Tong to go to the hospital for a checkup. But Wu Tong felt embarrassed today, so she waved her hand. It's just a small injury. It's not a big deal. The case is more important. Chief Ding, you've worked hard. Please escort these suspects back first. I'll talk to Chen Guang for a bit before heading back to the station. Today, we must investigate this contract murder case thoroughly. Brother Scar, who was about to be escorted into the car, couldn't take it anymore. He quickly turned around and howled, "What do you mean by hiring a killer? Don't make such a big hat. It was just hurting people." Hurting people? Eyeglasses Wu raised her head and looked at the waning moon in the sky. She looked like she didn't want to know Brother Scar. Brother, can you be more straightforward? I think they don't need to interrogate you. They just used a little trick to scare you, and you'll confess everything? When the escort car and police cars gradually went away, Wang Long was left sitting in Wu Tong's Wrangler. Wu Tong looked at Chen Guang with a complicated expression. Chen Guang's heart thumped. Could it be that she still has feelings for him? I have to nip this scary bud in the bud. Are your injuries really okay? I was scared just now. Hey, why is it that the words coming out of my mouth and my heart are completely different? My heart doesn't want it, but my body is too honest. Wu Tong shook her head. It's not a big deal. I just happened to be hit in the temple. I didn't feel it when I recovered. That guy with a scar on his face is too shameless. He actually used a weapon to sneak attack me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lost. Yeah, he's too shameless. I can roughly guess who hired someone to do this. Don't worry, I'll give you an explanation. This kind of behavior is challenging the bottom line of the law enforcers. If everyone takes revenge, what's the use of the law? Chen Guang nodded. Yeah. Let's uphold the dignity of the law. But Pan Zhang's father seems to be the vice president of some construction company. He's quite powerful. How do you know it's Pan Zhang's family? Wu Tong was shocked. Chen Guang covered his head. Sister, I got into Gokyo University fair and square. I scored more than 640 points in the college entrance examination. I'm not stupid. Can you not question my intelligence? That's true. Apart from that, Pan Zhang's attempted rape also needs to be explained to the female victim. We can settle these two matters together, Wu Tong said. Chen Guang was puzzled. Didn't you say that he didn't commit a crime? Wu Tong snorted. But I didn't say that I'll let him get away with it. Why should I explain to you what I do? Anyway, go back to your school and be a good student. I can at least guarantee that you won't be harassed by Pan Zhang's family anymore. Chen Guang was amused. That's great. Thanks a lot. Seeing that he was about to leave, Wu Tong looked at his car and suddenly remembered something. Oh yeah, let me ask you. Why are you driving around the city in broad daylight? Don't tell me. Wu Tong wanted to ask him if he noticed that she was following him. Scratching his head, Chen Guang waved his phone and replied, Nothing much. My mom is sick and needs medication. It's tens of thousands of yuan a month. I usually work and study to earn some money. It's not easy for me to save up a little more than 10,000 yuan. Doesn't that mean I have to pay you a fine of 10,000 yuan? That's for my mom's medication. I have no choice but to make a few more trips to get the money as soon as possible. His words were half-truths. His motive was simple. Seeing that she was a good person and had taken his money, he would be happy if he could make her feel a little guilty. Wu Tong was stunned. You're on the internet? My liver hurts. My stomach hurts too. No wonder he had been wandering around the city all day. He was running the internet. How could I be so stupid? Oh no, my blood sugar is low and I'm feeling dizzy. Wu Tong's face was black as she laid on the Wrangler's passenger seat. However, she understood why Chen Guang was so determined to renege on his debt. It turned out that his family was in such a difficult situation. This was his mom's medication. Come to think of it, I was too much. A hateful person must have a pitiful side. Wu Tong indeed felt guilty. When she looked at him again, she was much more pleasing to the eye. She thought to herself, a filial man can't be that bad, right? She stuck her head out of the window and said to Chen Guang, who was wiping the front windshield with a rag, how about I return the money to you first? Just take it as a loan. Chen Guang shook his head. It's okay. I'll figure it out myself later. Okay, then I'll go. Wu Tong waved at Chen Guang and gestured for Wang Long to drive. Wang Long whispered, You like him, right? Wu Tong rolled her eyes. He's just a kid. How can I like him? Stop joking. Yesterday, I must have gone crazy and taken the wrong medicine. I was going to beat him up today to vent my anger, but I ran into those ignorant hooligans and ruined my plan. Wang Long only smiled and didn't say anything. He thought to himself, even if Brother Scar and the others weren't around, she wouldn't have been able to do it. Why don't you think about what you were like yesterday? On the other hand, Wu Tong knew that the feeling from yesterday might be brief, but it left a deep impression on her. When she recalled it, her face would still turn red, and her heartbeat would quicken by 10% when she spoke to Chen Guang earlier. It wasn't much, but she was sure that it was faster than usual. She thought to herself, what the hell? How could I like this guy? There's no reason. Unfortunately, no matter how much she quibbled and denied it, she didn't say anything harsh to Chen Guang in the end, even though she had come with the intention of taking revenge. There was already a crack on the ice wall. When the wind blew, the crack would gradually grow and spread until the high wall collapsed. On the other side, Wu Tong and Wang Long returned to the Wenxing branch office. Chen Guang wiped the front windshield and drove the car to the auto repair shop near the school. It was much cheaper than the 4S shop, and he could also get insurance. He took a taxi back to school and weighed the money in his pocket. He estimated that there was a net profit of about 10,000. Not bad. I seem to have forgotten something? Is it to help those people plead for Wu Tong? Come on, it's already good enough that I didn't hit them when they were down. Plead for them? I'm not a saint. After tricking Brother Scar and the others, Chen Guang didn't have any psychological burden at all. He happily returned to the dormitory. He didn't know that Pan Zhang's family was in big trouble. Wu Tong was really angered by Pan Zhang's family. Chapter 74. Early the next morning, Chen Guang was woken up by his phone ringing. He opened his eyes in a daze and looked at the time. It was only 8 o'clock in the morning. He picked up the phone and impatiently said, Who is it? If you have something to report to me, if not, get lost. I will kill you with a mouthful of salt soda. Go downstairs. Hurry up. I don't have time to waste with you, I'm waiting for you to assist in the investigation. Wu Tong's annoying voice came from the phone. At this moment, Chen Guang was speechless. He wondered if he had been possessed recently. This policewoman, you're still haunting me, right? Don't you know you're very annoying? What's wrong with me? Big sister, don't you know you're annoying? Didn't I give you the money? Can we not contact each other in the future? Chen Guang said what he thought. This time, Chen Guang was very honest. On the other side of the call, Wu Tong's face was so pale that water could be squeezed out. I'll count to 3. If you still don't come down, I'll shout from below your dormitory. Chen Guang, you heartless bastard. How can you not care after getting someone pregnant? Chen Guang's drowsiness instantly disappeared. If she really did that, he would be on the front page of the school forum tomorrow. How could he raise his head in the future? Don't. I'll be right down. Rolling out of bed, he hurriedly comforted the phone. That's more like it. I'm asking you to cooperate with the investigation, not asking for your life. Your classmate, Sun Xiaoxuan, is also here. Today, we will close the case of Pan Dehai and Pan Zhang's attempted rape. Isn't this helping you? Wu Tong spat and then hung up the phone. Sun Xiaoxuan, who was at the side, opened his mouth and looked at her as if he saw a ghost. Wu Tong proudly raised her eyebrows at Sun Xiaoxuan. What did you just say? You said he can't get up so early? I think it's quite simple. This man, as long as you find his weakness, it's very easy to deal with him. Sun Xiaoxuan, you're still young. You have to learn more. Sun Xiaoxuan turned his face away. He felt that it was a bit embarrassing to stand with this policewoman. At the same time, his heart was already on guard. It seems that I have another rival in love? 3 minutes later, Chen Guang went downstairs. Wu Tong couldn't stop laughing at the teacup in his hand. Don't you think it's shameful for a man to carry such a sissy cup all day long? Chen Guang was too lazy to bother with her. He turned his face away and smiled at Sun Xiaoxuan. In Guang's hospital, Pan Dehai was sitting next to Pan Zhang's bed. Knight's surgery was successful. His son's surgery. Sun, Wang, Hai, Wang, Qing, Wang, Sun, Yu, I, Wang, up, 102 letting these two, I cost. By I was he, to say. It on I up by with he, of he, and hill. They haven't called to report the situation. Maybe they think it's too easy and not worth mentioning? Pan Dehai didn't think that Wang, Scar, and Wu would take the money and not do anything. His Tongyun construction company had a lot of influence in Guang, and there were many opportunities to cooperate with them. They wouldn't offend him over this small amount of money. Pan Jiang noticed Pan Dehai's expression. Dad, what are you laughing at? Pan Dehai shook off the dust on his suit. Wait for a while. You can call your classmate and ask about Qin Guang. Pan Jiang's eyes lit up. Did they make a move? Pan Dehai nodded. Of course. How can I let the person who injured my son live a comfortable life? Does he think he can get away with paying the medical bills? Dream on. The Pan family doesn't need this bit of money. Pan Dehai remembered the pretty policewoman announcing Qin Guang's punishment in front of him, and he was very unhappy. That kid was actually acquitted? Pay the compensation and get away with it? This result was simply a slap in the face to the dignified Pan Dehai. Although he didn't understand why his connections didn't work, maybe it was the policewoman's fault. But it didn't matter. Just detaining him or giving him a 1-year sentence was too easy on him. That kid hit my son, so he can pay the compensation and get away with it. I can also let someone else turn that kid into a half-eunuch. This is much more interesting than a sentence, and I don't even have to pay the compensation. How's the fight? Pan Jiang asked with a grin. He was in a good mood. His balls, which had just finished the surgery, felt comfortable. Pan Dehai blinked. Anyway, his injuries are definitely worse than yours, including there. Pan Dehai pointed to Pan Jiang's crotch. Pan Jiang clenched his fist excitedly. Kill that bastard. How dare he kick my crotch? Dad, let's just turn him into a eunuch. At most, we can just pay the compensation. Pan Dehai smiled proudly. Do I need you to teach me this? I guess even if he's not a eunuch, he should be close to it, right? The fat woman who was peeling fruits on the side, Pan Jiang's mother, also snorted. In my opinion, just injuring him is too easy on him. Why don't we just let him fill the cement column? You've done it before anyway. Pan Dehai shushed her. Don't talk nonsense in front of your son. Don't mention those old things again. It's not like before. The fat woman rolled her eyes at Pan Dehai. Anyway, I'm not satisfied. Also, that girl who dared to frame my son is called Sun Xiaoxuan, right? We can't just let it go. We have to teach that vixen a lesson. Pan Jiang also nodded slightly. Dad, I've never begged you since I was a child. But this time, I must get Sun Xiaoxuan. Help me. Pan Dehai looked at Pan Jiang again. Okay, let's celebrate your 20th birthday. It's rare for you to be so serious about a woman. Pan Jiang shook his head. I don't mean to be serious. I just want to play with her. Ruthlessly and break her. At this moment, the ward door was pushed open. Wu Tong walked in front, followed by Wang Long and 3 other police officers. Pan Dehai stood up from his chair and said with a straight face, "What are you doing?" "Arrest her. Take her away," Wu Tong said as she pointed at Pan Dehai. Wang Long and another police officer approached him from the left and right. Pan Dehai struggled. "Let go. What right do you have to arrest me? I want to find my lawyer." Wu Tong curled her lips. "Ta lawyer? I just want to play with her." Ruthlessly, break her. She mimicked Pan Jiang's tone and said with a fake smile. Pan Dehai's expression changed. "You're spying on me? I want to sue you for violating my privacy." Wu Tong smiled. "That's one thing. If you want to sue me, you can do it later. But right now, you're suspected of hiring someone to injure someone. Come with me." Chapter 75. What are you doing? Let go of my dad. My dad is the vice president of the Transport and Construction Department. Pan Jiang, who was lying on the bed, also became agitated. Wu Tong pointed at Pan Jiang's head. Vice president? It's useless even if you've committed a crime. Don't be in a hurry to jump out. You're also involved in a rape case. But considering that you've just had surgery and are still in bed, we won't take you away for the time being. But these 2 police officers will stay with you until you can reluctantly leave the hospital. We'll need you to assist in the investigation. Pan Jiang was stunned. What? Don't frame me. Pan Jiang's fat mother rushed up from the side like a hungry tiger, wanting to hit Wu Tong. She shouted, "You bitch! Don't wrongly accuse my Pan and Xiao Jiang. I'll kill you." No matter what, Wu Tong was an expert in Wujing City's police force. How could she let this fat woman get away with it? She grabbed her fat mother's hand and put it behind her back. She pressed down hard, making her unable to move. "I advise you to calm down. If you have anything to say, you can ask your lawyer to help you in court. It's meaningless for you to howl in front of me." "Bitch, let go. I know Chief Wang of the Municipal Bureau. Don't go too far. None of you here will have a good ending." The fat mother continued to howl. Wang Long, who knew what was going on, thought it was very funny. Wang Long only learned of Wu Tong's real background from Bureau Chief Ding 2 days ago. Her background was frighteningly big. That Bureau Chief Wang would never have the guts to touch a hair on Wu Tong, unless he didn't want to work anymore. Besides, Wu Tong was enforcing the law normally. There was no violation of the law. Before everyone set off, Chief Ding had already completed all the procedures to file a case. "Take her away." Wu Tong ignored the fat woman's clamor and just pushed her forward. She turned around and called Wang Long and the other 2 police officers to leave, leaving the 2 of them to watch over Pan Jiang in the ward. Pan Dehai reluctantly followed the crowd out. He turned back and said, "Honey Pan Jiang, don't worry. I'll call Chief Wang right away. If it doesn't work, Chief Lu from the head office can also help. They won't dare to do anything to me." He had purposely said these words in front of Wu Tong and the others. Wu Tong smiled disdainfully. "Fine, if you want to make a call, I'll let you do it slowly. I want to see if your connections can reach the sky. Don't worry, let's wait for this great vice president to finish his call, then we'll take him away. That way, he'll give up earlier and not cause a ruckus." Wang Long almost burst out laughing. "Big sister, do you have to be so mean?" On the way here, Wu Tong made a few phone calls in succession to greet them. She also sent the documents she prepared last night to the internal archives of the few VIPs one by one. Now, even if Pan Dehai went to the provincial office, it would be in vain, let alone the people in the city bureau. "Hello, Chief Wang, it's me. Contact Pan Dehai of the Transport and Construction Division." "Where's little Pan?" The call was cut off. "Director Zhou, hello, Pa." The call was cut off again. Boss Lu, it's me, Panda Hai. Something happened here. Finally, there was someone who didn't hang up the phone. It was the boss of Tong Yun Construction Company, Boss Lu. Little Pan, I have a rough idea of what happened to you. I can only tell you that this time, I can't protect you, and no one can. I've always told you that now that we're doing business, we have to act like businessmen. Do you still think it's the old days? But you don't listen to me. You always like to do things your own way. Now, something happened, didn't it? Although I don't know how you offended others, you have to bear the consequences of your own mistakes. I can't let the whole company get involved in your matters. Do you know? You've pierced the heavens, you've gotten yourself into big trouble. Boss Lu said a few more words, but it extinguished the last glimmer of hope in Panda Hai's heart. Boss Lu had been operating in Wujing City for many years and had a wide network of connections. He was the kind of person who was quite popular in the entire Dechuan province, both in the underworld and in the underworld. Panda Hai was also his right-hand man, and he had helped him many times in the past. But this time, he was going to abandon him without even thinking about it. It's over. His hands trembled as he hung up the phone. Panda Hai's face no longer had the confidence and pride from before. Wu Tong glanced at him. Are you done with the call? Are you satisfied now? Can you leave with me now? Panda Hai asked in a trembling voice. You? Why is that? Who wants to mess with me? Why are you still so stubborn? Does it matter who I am? No one wants to mess with you, and you don't have that value. What do you call this? You've made a trap for yourself. Actually, it wasn't that big of a deal for you to hire a hitman to hurt someone, but I seem to have heard something really big just now. I've seen a dossier before. In a bridge project that you were in charge of in your early years, it seemed like a designer had mysteriously disappeared. It was written in black and white in the dossier that the designer and the project manager, Panda Hai, had always had a grudge against each other. Boss Pan, your story is quite complicated. Wu Tong's words were said lightly, but they hit the soft spot in Panda Hai's heart that had been hidden for many years. His face suddenly turned snow-white, and his whole body slowly fell limply to the ground. Looking at his pitiful state, Wu Tong rolled her eyes. He didn't deserve any sympathy. If you want to talk about the law, I'll talk about the law with you. If you want to compete with connections, I'll let my father compete with you. The matter this time wasn't that serious, but he had a criminal record in the past. If she dug it all out, he would probably fall into the abyss. Last time, in order to collect evidence for Pan Zhang's rape case, she had secretly hidden a listening device in the fat woman's clothes. If nothing unexpected happened, she could also solve a murder case from 10 years ago. It was really killing two birds with one stone. Panda Hai was being carried out of the ward, and he saw Chen Guang and Sun Xiaoxuan poking their heads out of the door. Chen Guang had long been hiding at the door, and he had heard most of the conversation inside. When Wu Tong used the listening device just now, he was also at the side. Seeing Panda Hai come out, Chen Guang went up to him. Hello, Uncle Pan. I'm Pan Zhang's classmate, Chen Guang. I heard that someone kicked his egg, so I brought some quail eggs to visit him. Eat it to make up for it. As he spoke, Chen Guang actually took out a quail egg from his pocket, and then he crushed it with his fingers. Chen Guang? That bastard who injured Pan Zhang. He's here to watch the show? Panda Hai felt suffocated, and his eyes rolled back. He was so angry that he almost fainted. Back in the ward, Pan Zhang's fat mother also knew that things were getting out of hand, but the biggest mistake she made was the words she had said. She was already lying on the ground and crying, saying that she was wronged and so on. Pan Zhang leaned back on the bed, and his face was ashen. He knew that his whole family was finished. Chapter 76. Sun Xiaoxuan was kind enough to want to go in and comfort Pan Zhang. Chen Guang pulled her back. You still want to comfort someone like him? Didn't you hear what he said just now? Save it and go away. I don't think he'll give up so easily. There are some things that I have to talk to him face to face. With that, Chen Guang walked back into the ward. Wu Tong wanted to stop him. Chen Guang, what are you doing? Don't go in and cause trouble. Chen Guang's expression was very serious. Officer Wu, I really don't want to go in and cause trouble. You don't understand, Pan Jiang. If I don't go in and make things clear, let this kid see the situation clearly and warn him. Otherwise, Sun Xiaoxuan won't be safe, and I won't be safe either. You don't want to see me involved in some case of excessive self-defense or manslaughter, do you? Are you threatening me? Wu Tong stared at him. Chen Guang shook his head. No, I'm just stating the facts. I'm not going to argue with you about the law, but since some things can be avoided, it's better to avoid them as much as possible, right? Wu Tong realized that she couldn't win against him in an argument. All right, I'm afraid of you. I'll go in with you. You better be careful. Even though you're in the right, don't go overboard and let others talk about you. Wu Tong finally agreed to Qin Guang's request. She even sent the other 2 police officers who were originally guarding the ward outside to make it easier for Qin Guang to speak. Actually, it was against the rules for her to bring people, including Qin Guang and Sun Xiaoxuan. But now that the people at Wenxing branch knew about her special identity, no one reminded her about it. Of course, it wasn't a serious violation. Qin Guang was happy. He was just afraid that Wu Tong wouldn't come in. When he entered the ward, Pan Jiang was staring blankly at the sky. His fat mother seemed to have fainted from crying on the ground. Pan Jiang, you're injured. As your old classmate, I'm here to visit you on behalf of the whole class. Aren't you going to welcome me? Chen Guang walked in with a smile and a despicable expression on his face. It couldn't be helped. This guy had only himself to blame. Even at this point, he still didn't know how to repent. If Wu Tong wasn't here, Qin Guang would have beaten him to death just based on what he had said earlier. It was just that he was being sarcastic with his words, but old Master Chen was really magnanimous. When Pan Jiang heard Qin Guang's voice, he slowly turned his head. His eyes that had been wandering around the horizon gradually came back to his senses. He abruptly straightened up from the bed. Qin Guang, you still dare to come? Oh, what's wrong? Did you become so bold after the surgery? You've improved? Why wouldn't I dare to come? Tell me, why wouldn't I dare to come? Chen Guang sat on the chair next to Pan Jiang's bed. He grabbed some melon seeds from the fruit plate next to him and started munching on them as he spoke. Pan Jiang's eyes were wide open and his eyebrows were raised. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling and his fists were clenched tightly. If it wasn't for the fact that he knew he couldn't beat Qin Guang, and if it wasn't for the fact that his crotch was still aching from the surgery, he would have jumped up and fought Qin Guang with all his might. Don't be too full of yourself. There will be a time when you'll cry and beg me to let you go. Qin Guang, you and I are irreconcilable. Pan Jiang squeezed out these words through his teeth. His hatred was monstrous. Chen Guang took another bite of melon seeds and turned his head to look at Wu Tong. Sis, did you see that? He's even threatening me? Wu Tong glared at him in annoyance. Who's your sis? Besides, is he threatening you? You're the one who took advantage of me and forced me to say harsh words, right? I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen someone as shameless as him. I've never seen someone as shameless as him. Wu Tong couldn't help but feel a bit regretful. If she knew this guy's mouth was so cheap, she wouldn't have asked him to warn Pan Jiang. How was this a warning? This was clearly a slap in the face. But in the end, she didn't tear down Qin Guang's stage. If she could guess what Qin Guang was going to say next, she would definitely regret it so much that her intestines would turn green. Chen Guang suddenly stood up from the chair and leaned down to close the distance between him and Pan Jiang. He looked down at Pan Jiang and didn't say a word for a long time. Pan Jiang was a bit scared by his gaze. Chen Guang, what are you doing? The police are still here. You'd better not act recklessly. Chen Guang spat out 2 pieces of melon seed shells from his mouth and smashed them on Pan Jiang's forehead. He said in a sinister tone, "Are you stupid? Don't tell me you still don't understand? Haven't you given up yet? Don't you think that if I beat you up like this, your father wouldn't find someone to mess with me? But look at the result. I'm standing here alive and kicking, but you're lying on the hospital bed, half dead. Don't you think it's strange?" Without waiting for Pan Jiang to speak, Qin Guang continued, "I'm not afraid to tell you. According to the normal rules, I wouldn't have to be detained if I paid the money for beating you up. But more importantly, your father's connections were blocked by someone else. Do you understand? It was blocked. Your father's connections aren't strong enough. Pan Jiang opened his mouth, wanting to refute Qin Guang's words. Tong Yun Construction Company wasn't a small enterprise, and the company's vice president was definitely considered a big shot. What about now? Your father found some gangsters to stop me last night, and today he immediately put himself in trouble. You heard the phone calls he made just now, right? You also know who he was calling, right? And the result? It's useless. It's useless no matter who he called. No one can save him. Pan Jiang, your father died because of you, and your family is finished. This is all because of you. From now on, you, Pan Jiang, are no longer that rich boss's son. Your father will spend his days in jail. Maybe he'll even have to eat peanuts. As Chen Guang spoke, he kept closing the distance between him and Pan Jiang, his eyes fierce and aggressive. Pan Jiang didn't dare to look him in the eye, turning his head to the side. His eyes were dull, his gaze blank, and his expression panicked. Impossible. No way. My father will be fine. If it wasn't for you, your father could have continued to be his boss in peace, and you, Pan Jiang, would still be your rich second generation. But it's a pity that you offended someone you shouldn't have. Your family's connections are nothing compared to our sisters. As Qin Guang spoke, he stood up abruptly and pointed at Wu Tong, who was scratching her head in confusion. See that? This is my sister, Wu Tong. Her surname is Wu. She's a legitimate second-generation official. Connections? Can your father win against her? With just a phone call, your father, monkey son, couldn't escape from the palm of Buddha's hand. Of course, if your father was upright, there wouldn't be so much trouble. Although my sister is a second-generation official, she's also a police officer who abhors evil. But it seems like your father's background isn't that clean. Can he stand up to investigation? Now, do you still want to take revenge? You want to use your family's money and power to fight against my sister? Are you really that stubborn? I advise you to be a good person in the future. Since we're classmates, let's part on good terms, or else you'll be consigned to eternal damnation. What do you think? When Chen Guang said the last sentence, his tone became gentler, but it didn't make Pan Jiang relax. Instead, his heart turned cold, and his face turned ashen. Because the current Chen Guang was too confident. But that's all I have to say. If you still have any tricks up your sleeves, show me. Sister, let's go. After saying that, Chen Guang turned around and left. He even dragged Wu Tong, who was dizzy from his lies, out of the ward. Wu Tong only had one thought in her mind. Oh my God. I never expected that there would be such a despicable and vicious person in this world. You've really reached a whole new level of intimidating others with your connections. Chapter 77. Wu Tong was not stupid. What did he mean by, "This is my sister, Wu Tong, her surname is Wu"? He was obviously hinting to Pan Jiang about her relationship with Wu Shan, Chief Wu. Chen Guang could not possibly know about this. In that case, this guy must have thought of his father because of his surname. After all, her father had been on TV for the past 2 months and was considered a celebrity in Wujing City. He was purposely creating a misunderstanding for Pan Jiang, making him think that she was Chief Wu's daughter. He actually guessed correctly. Are you born in the year of the dog? If Wu Tong knew that this was the second time Chen Guang had used the same trick, she might have the urge to strangle Chen Guang. Actually, after she left the ward, her hand was already on Chen Guang's neck. What kind of person do you think I am? Since when did I become your sister? I'm not close to you. Don't try to pull a fast one on me. Wu Tong was furious. That's too much. Of course, even though she said that and looked as if she wanted to eat someone up, in the end, she didn't really have the heart to do it. She was a person who had a sharp tongue but a soft heart. Just like the day when she had recovered from her emotional state, she looked like she wanted to beat Chen Guang to death with a rubber baton. But until today, she did not do it. Chen Guang laughed and moved Wu Tong's hand away from his neck. All right, For you. You're the people's justice. The protector of justice in the world. Officer Wu. I'm doing this to kill Pan Zhang's motive in the cradle. I'm also defending the dignity of the law. Wu Tong spat at him and said, Save it. No matter how I look at you, I still think you're going to add insult to injury. Chen Guang shook his head. No. Look at me, look at my sincere eyes. Believe me, I'm not that kind of person. As Chen Guang spoke, his eyes widened as he stared at Wu Tong, getting closer and closer. Wu Tong turned her head and looked directly at Chen Guang's big face. She said, What are you doing? Wang Long and the others are waiting down there. Let's go, let's go. As she spoke, Wu Tong suddenly stopped talking. Looking at him at such a close distance, she suddenly recalled that night. Whenever she saw him, her heart would beat wildly, as if it was about to jump out of her throat. The hospital corridor, which was originally bustling with people, suddenly became dead silent. She could even hear her own heartbeat, which was getting louder and more intense. Her breathing also gradually became nervous and hurried. Wu Tong thought that a long time had passed, but it was actually less than 10 seconds. She turned her head to the side and pushed Chen Guang away. Stop it. Give me an explanation. Otherwise, you'll have a taste of your own medicine. Chen Guang flashed to the side to avoid Wu Tong's sneak attack. With a straight face, he seriously said, Officer Wu, you don't understand Pan Jiang. You're right. I just deliberately made up your identity to look like I was taking the opportunity to humiliate him. But in my eyes, he's just a passerby in life, so there's no need to find pleasure from him. But you also saw that he didn't have the slightest bit of repentance just now. He hates me and Sun Xiaoxuan to the bone. Even if he's sentenced to prison because he drugged the class monitor, it won't be more than 2 years, right? Not to mention that he didn't succeed, so I'm afraid the time is even shorter, right? Wu Tong felt a bit disappointed when he turned serious and even called her Officer Wu. But she didn't show it on her face. She also put on a solemn expression and nodded. That's true. Chen Guang solemnly replied, That's right. He will regain his freedom sooner or later, and if he maintains the same mentality as before, coupled with the fact that his father, Pan Dahai, must have left him quite a sum of money. If that's the case, can I and the class monitors study in peace in the future? I'm afraid we'll have to live in fear all the time, right? So, that's why I'm borrowing your power to suppress his heart, to make him feel that there's no hope for him to succeed in his revenge. Or, even if he succeeds, he won't be able to bear the counterattack of my big sister, Officer Wu. In the future, he'll gradually let go of the hatred he has for me and the class monitor, and steadily live his second life. As the saying goes, revenge breeds revenge. When will it ever end? I've put a lot of effort into this, so please understand. How do you know he'll really be scared? Wu Tong didn't believe it. Chen Guang smiled confidently. If it was someone else, this trick of mine might not be effective. But for Pan Jiang, I'm willing to bet 10,000 that it'll definitely be effective. The more obsessed a person is with power and money, the more they'll be afraid of someone stronger than them. On the surface, Pan Jiang looked like a crazy person who relied on his family's wealth and power to be arrogant, domineering, and disregarding the law. But in fact, he was a slave to real power in his bones. His father is currently in big trouble. Although he doesn't know why no one responded to him when he called for help, it doesn't matter. At least it can give Pan Jiang the illusion that there's a big shot who wants to mess with Pan Dahai. I also took advantage of the fact that the armed police officer had the same surname as that high-ranking official Wu, so I lied to him. Needless to say, he'll think in that direction himself. Wu Tong rolled her eyes. This guy, what illusion that there's a big shot who wants to mess with Pan Dahai. Fake your face. Wu Shan is my dad. I'm the one who wants to mess with Pan Dahai. Of course, she couldn't bring herself to say it out loud. Otherwise, wouldn't Chen Guang think she was showing off? You stinking brat. You're really something. Wu Tong stretched out her finger and poked Chen Guang's head. She rolled her eyes at him. All right, there's nothing for you to do here. I'll go back to the station first. I'm afraid there's still a lot of cases behind Panda High that need to be dug up. Most of the credit should go to me. This is the biggest contribution I've made since I started working. Last night, the arrest of Brother Scar's gang was also my credit. I owe you a favor. I'll treat you to a meal later. I'll leave first. After walking a few steps, Wu Tong turned around and looked at Qin Guang from head to toe. She had to say, after everything was over, this brat was quite pleasing to the eye. Perhaps Wu Tong didn't feel it herself, but after that unforgettable night of emotional torture, although that feeling had disappeared, the memory remained. Although she said she hated him and couldn't get used to seeing Qin Guang again, deep in her heart, she couldn't bring herself to hate him at all. She thought about how she always suffered losses whenever she met this guy. On the first day, she wanted to detain him for 15 days, but he walked away with his head held high. On the second day, she wanted to beat him up, but she ended up helping him beat others instead. Instead, she became his free thug. Today, she was used by this guy again. He said that she pretended to be a rich second generation to scare Pan Jiang, but it turned out to be true. Wu Tong had suffered too many losses. If she didn't get back at him, she wouldn't feel at ease. Oh, that's right. Didn't this brat call me sister just now? I'll go along with it and make this brat shorter than me for no reason. I'll piss you off. Brat, I'll remember what you said just now. When you see me in the future, call me sister. Do you hear me? I'm your sister. Behave yourself. Don't let me catch you and send you to the police station. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences. Oh, you're still thinking about that 11,000 yuan? Don't worry about it. I can lend it to you, but don't think about winning it back from me. Let's go. This time Wu Tong really left. She whistled and skipped. She was in a good mood and very proud of herself. She never thought that if she really recognized Qin Guang as her brother, she would be the one at a disadvantage. Chapter 78. Why are you looking at me like that? Is there something on my face? Chen Guang felt uncomfortable being stared at by Sun Xiaoxuan's weird expression. He couldn't help but ask when they walked out of the hospital. Sun Xiaoxuan smiled mysteriously. Nothing. I just think you've become more handsome recently. Chen Guang was delighted. He touched his face. Really? Really? Sun Xiaoxuan was disgusted by his narcissism. He poked him in the waist with his finger and laughed. Stop being so smug. Hurry back to school. Today is the swimming team's semifinals. We don't have a basketball team this time, but the whole class is counting on you to do well. Even though everyone says that it's important to participate, Teacher Zhuo will be disappointed if he returns empty-handed. So I've become famous in class these past 2 days? Chen Guang was overjoyed. He didn't know that swimming fast had this benefit. Sun Xiaoxuan nodded. Of course. The people who watched your race that day have become your fans. Gao Ya, that big mouth, has been promoting you to the girls every day. You probably don't know that she recorded it with her phone and plays it to everyone she meets. Don't you pay attention to the boys? Chen Guang shook his head. He thought to himself, every second of my life is so fulfilling. I earn hundreds of thousands of yuan every minute. I don't have the time to care about what others say about me. I don't earn a single cent. So many girls admire me? He couldn't control his narcissism in the end. Sun Xiaoxuan nodded. It's not just the girls. Teacher Zhuo also said that he wants to watch your race today. When Qin Guang heard that, he scratched his head in puzzlement. All right, I'll treat it as if what you said is true. I'm really popular in the class, but why hasn't anyone confessed to me yet? There's no reason. As an old bachelor, it wasn't easy for him to become a celebrity, but why did he have to continue to be a bachelor? I can't accept this. Sun Xiaoxuan was speechless. The two took a taxi back to school. Before Sun Xiaoxuan left, he encouraged Qin Guang again, telling him to swim well today and maintain his winning streak until the finals. Of course, judging from the previous matches, this matter was set in stone without any suspense. Even Dong Tao was no match for Qin Guang. No one in the school could pose a threat to Qin Guang in the 400-meter freestyle. Sun Xiaoxuan only regretted that he didn't register a few more items for Qin Guang. Otherwise, It would have been great if he could have bought all of them. Chen Guang naturally agreed to Sun Xiaoshuan's encouragement. After all, this wasn't a difficult task, to begin with. Unfortunately, in the end he still couldn't step onto the springboard of the semi-finals. After returning to the dormitory, Chen Guang was about to tidy up his swimming trunks. When he opened his cabinet, he saw the glittering golden armor. An idea popped into his head. F***ck, it's been almost 2 weeks since I saved those 2 celebrities. Big Beard Deng's armor has been with me for so long. Why hasn't Big Beard called me? Didn't he say that he would give me a chance to earn 100,000 in 30 seconds? Could it be that he had forgotten about me? Scum. Bastard. Ungrateful ingrate. The new king of you, Go Jin. Poor me, I've been practicing my acting skills day and night for the past 2 weeks. I've been thinking about how to become a good actor. Although the more I practice, the more I fall behind. My sincerity can be seen by the heavens and the earth. But you? In the end, you were just saying it casually to be polite to me, weren't you? You never intended to be grateful, you were just messing with me, right? You're an animal. Do you know that your polite words caused the old man to lose his appetite and couldn't sleep at night? King took it seriously. You're a famous director, how can you trick a commoner like this? Are you even human? Chen Guang was a little unhappy. If it was anyone else, they would not be happy after being tricked like this. Turning around, he saw Bai Nyangzi with a rag doll on his bed. Don't ask him why there was such a thing on his bed. There was no need to explain. Jumping up, Chen Guang grabbed the rag doll and wrote Big Beard Deng on it. I'll break your hand. I'll break your neck. I'll wrap your legs. I'll beat you to death. Chen Guang subjected Bai Nyangzi to inhumane torture to vent his anger. After he was done, he had a flash of inspiration. Oh, did you forget about me? Then you don't remember this set of armor, right? Furthermore, I didn't write an IOU. This thing's workmanship is so exquisite. It should be worth at least $2, right? Chen Guang immediately went around asking where he could sell this thing to see if he could sell it for a good price. Heh, you don't say. He managed to contact a famous cultural company in Wujing City. This company specialized in commercial performances and props for film crews. Chen Guang first searched for the company's phone number on the internet and called. Hello, how are you? I have a set of armor that looks quite exquisite for sale. Is your company buying it? It's quite exquisite. It's not fake, it's the kind you see on TV. The workmanship is superb. I used to work for a film crew, and they gave it to me to offset my salary. It's from a legitimate source. He stuttered a little because he also felt that this call was quite nerve-wracking. The company was so big, and these things were all produced by professionals. Who would buy something from an outsider for no reason? As expected, the person who answered the phone only said 3 words and hung up. Where's the crazy one? You're the crazy one. Even if the business doesn't work out, there's still justice. What kind of attitude is that? Beep beep beep. Looks like I can't sell it. Chen Guang threw the phone away angrily and went to hit the villain again. After a few minutes, the company called back. Hello, sir? Do you want to sell armor? If it's convenient for you, can you send a photo for us to see? My name is Hao Yu Kai. My WeChat ID is... The number was the same as before, but the voice had changed from a young woman to a middle-aged man. Perhaps he was the manager of the company. Although he was unhappy, for the sake of money, Chen Guang still sent a photo to the other party patiently. Within a minute, the other party called again. Mr. Chen, where you now? I'll be right there. 50,000. One price. 50,000. All right, Chen Guang had no idea how much this thing was worth. However, it didn't seem too bad if he could get 50,000 yen from selling a bunch of metal pieces. He agreed immediately and asked the other party to drive to Gokyo University. Then, he continued to hit the villain. Since he had nothing better to do, he might as well hit the villain. Chen Guang didn't know that at that moment, on the other side of Wujing, Big Beard Deng was talking to someone about him. Chapter 79. After spending more than 2 weeks, Deng Xiaojiang had finally smoothed out the series of unforeseen events brought about by the sinking of the pleasure boat. The film crew continued to work. They had just finished filming the scene in the lake 2 days ago. Today, they were going to film a battle scene with many generals. The props team did an inventory and found that a set of armor for the deputy general was missing. Deng Xiaojiang was furious and scolded the person in charge of the props team, Xiaohu. "What the hell are you doing? How could you lose such a big set of armor? You lost it just like that? Why don't you just throw it away? I don't care what you do. Hurry up and get me a usable set. I need it this afternoon. If you can't get it back, don't come back. Get lost." This Xiao, who was even more wrong than Daoist. He didn't know what was going on. All the costumes and props were arranged uniformly. How could they just disappear like a ghost? Did he bump into a ghost? He was also at a loss and had tears in his eyes. Big Beard Deng's saliva scolded him. He then shrank his neck and slipped away. "All right, I'll think of a way to find it. Wujing City is so big. It can't be that I can't even find a usable set of armor, right?" After the poor Xiao, who had gone far away, the site supervisor, Old Ma, looked like he wanted to say something but stopped himself. He had a strange expression on his face. Big Beard Deng glared. "Old Ma, what's with that expression? Are you constipated or something? Do you need me to clear it for you? I didn't scold you. Did you feel uncomfortable? If something drops, aren't you responsible as the site supervisor?" Old Ma chuckled. "Director Deng, I deliberately waited for you to finish scolding Xiao before coming over. I was giving you a way out. My dear Director Deng, why don't you think about it again? Didn't you ask me to give that set of armor to Bro Qinguang? He wore it and took it away. The one who saved Jin Shiriyue and Jiang Yage, Qinguang. It was that day." Big Beard Deng slapped his forehead. That's right. How could I forget about that little brother? Look at my memory. I'm so busy. That kid wouldn't be cursing me for being ungrateful in his heart, right?" Oma laughed it off. "Director Deng, don't worry. Brother Qinguang is a reasonable man. He definitely won't make up stories about you. Why don't I call him now?" Deng Xiaojiang shook his head. "Forget it. I'll do it myself. It's already been 2 weeks. If I don't call him myself, I'll look like I'm putting on airs." Chen Guang did not make fun of Big Beard Deng in his mind, because he was busy beating up the villain. When the call was connected, Big Beard Deng said with a smile, "Hello. Was it Chen Guang?" "It's me. Deng Xiaojiang. It's that Big Beard's director." "That's right, it's me." With one hand on the phone and the other on the rag doll's neck, Chen Guang's mouth twitched. "Oh, my uncle. You finally remembered to call me. You scared me to death. I thought you had forgotten about me." This was the most embarrassing thing in the world. He was just strangling Big Beard Deng's little man's neck when Big Beard Deng called him. How could he do that? Deng Xiaojiang was also slightly embarrassed. "Sai, it's my fault. I've been too busy these past 2 weeks. I just finished today. Didn't I hurry to call you? Are you free now? Remember to bring your armor to the set. I've arranged the scene for you in the afternoon. Like I said before, 30 seconds, 100,000. Deng Xiaojiang felt very guilty. Back then he had helped him so much. He owed him a life-saving debt. At the time was tight and he didn't have the time to prepare more money, so he only gave him 50,000 on the spot. He decided to give him a small role for 30 seconds. On one hand, it was to return the favor and try to help this young man. On the other hand, it was to find an appropriate excuse to give him another 100,000. The money had been prepared a long time ago. It wasn't a large amount, so it should be given. Of course, although Deng Xiaojiang's personality was very casual and open-minded, he was very serious about the movie. Although he was helping Qinguang, he was only talking about 30 seconds of scenes. But truth be told, Qinguang's character was just a nameless, armored soldier riding a horse behind the commander of the two armies when they were facing each other. He just had to sit there and pose, and when the other side's commander provoked him, he just had to put on a slightly indignant expression. Speaking in terms of image, Chen Guang had to act like the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, where Wang Situ and Zhuge Liang were cursing at each other. On the screen, Chen Guang's height wasn't even half the height of the television. Even if he was a pure walk-on actor with zero acting skills, it wasn't difficult at all. It wouldn't affect the quality of the movie at all. In the face of Deng Xiaojiang's invitation, Chen Guang, of course, happily agreed. 1 minute on stage was 10 years of hard work off stage. He had trained hard for 2 weeks for this day. He was also very embarrassed. The other party hadn't forgotten him. They had just finished work and they were in a hurry to call him. Who was it? It was the gold medal director, Deng Xiaojing. Look at his attitude. He was approachable and amiable. He was not arrogant or rash even though he was in a high position. He was so polite to a young college student like him. What a great man. Yet, he was the villain behind his back. Chen Guang was so ashamed that he shed 2 lines of regretful tears. After hanging up, Chen Guang packed the armor and planned to drive out. As for the company that wanted to buy his armor, he had long since forgotten about it. The reason was very simple. One side was 50,000, and the other was 100,000. I'm not stupid. Can't you even tell which is more, 5 or 10? On the other end, Deng Xiaojing cheerfully hung up the phone. He was about to call back the person in charge of the prop team, Xiao Hu, and tell him to stop looking. However, this unlucky guy rushed back excitedly and shouted, "Director Deng! President Hao of Iris Flower Company said he has a prop armor that meets our standards. He said he will deliver it in the afternoon. There are pictures here. This workmanship. Really authentic." Before Deng Xiaojing could say anything, Xiao Hu had already placed the phone in front of Deng Xiaojing's eyes. Deng Xiaojing impatiently waved his hand. "Go away, go away. Stop looking. Go busy yourself with other things. You don't have to worry about this armor." Xiao Hu was scared out of his wits. His face was deathly pale and he almost knelt on the ground. He looked pitifully at Deng Xiaojing with tears in his eyes. "Director Deng? I was wrong. Please give me another chance. Didn't I already find it? Why don't you want it anymore?" Deng Xiaojing choked on his anger. He turned around and glared at him. "Stop nagging. I just said you don't have to worry about the armor anymore. I told you to go busy yourself with other things. I didn't tell you to get the hell out of here." Big Beard Deng's heart was stifled. "Can you stop asking me why I don't want it anymore?" The old man was famous throughout his life. How could he admit that he had forgotten about it just now? Why don't you give me a way out of this embarrassing situation and just let it go with the wind? Can we pretend this never happened? You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.